What is this foolishness?
How many dreams can you shape in a minute, an hour?
The kind of clean you like best.
Lost 3 of my teeth, too. All right, so you lost. Next time you'll win.
Steamy, hot, hearty, delicious, invigorating.
Folks at home, how you doing tonight? I hope you're having a wonderful Monday. I know I am. You are tuning into a brand new Ike Live. We've got a monster show in store for you tonight, loaded with special guests and great content. Want to introduce the room? Sitting to my right, the one and only, you know him as recent champion of the Cashin event down in NC. Pete Glusick, us to the show. Pete, how you doing tonight?
I'm good. My hand's still healing from the.
I see the wound on the outside. We're going to be talking more about that. We're going to be talking more about that, so hang in there. Also tonight, in the back, pushing buttons, taking IMs, we've got the one and only Brian the Carpenter producing the show.
Yes.
And we've got next to him the one and only Riz, a.k.a. Rizzo, Rich, producing the night for us back there, taking IMs.
Guys, we're doing a Facebook like and share over on the Facebook side of things. So if you're not going to watch on the IkeLiveShow.com, please like and share our feed, and you will be entered into a contest to win a totally awesome Ike Live gift bag.
Full of stuff.
That's right. Also, we have Zach the intern floating around. You might see him flash by every once in a while. Let me tell you, you want to stick around. Yeah, you want to stick around for this one. This is going to be a great show. We've got Jody Queen, professional kayak angler, joining us. Recent winner of the Hobie Boss Championship. Pete, 20 grand for a kayak tournament win. Isn't that hard to believe?
Yeah.
Things are changing in the kayak world. You're going to want to tune in for Jody Queen. Also, probably, I would argue, one of the most famous anglers in the world these days. Not Roland Martin, but Scott Martin joining us. Wins on every circuit you can imagine. YouTube celebrity, TV celebrity, Scott Martin Challenge, so on, so on. Lots of stuff. Making a big announcement a few weeks ago about fishing the Bass Opens.
Yeah.
We're going to be talking to Scott about that, and also a few other big announcements maybe coming from Scott tonight.
What?
I don't know. You're not going to want to miss that. It's going to be a great show. Before we do that, Ike Live is brought to you by tons of great sponsors, including the presenting sponsor, Mystery Tackle Box. It's fishing simplified, Pete. I don't know if you knew that. Go to mysterytacklebox.com. Also brought to you by Tackle Warehouse, TH Marine, Dr. Squatch, Primal Urge Foods, Liquid Mayhem, Flambeau, Founders, Tackle Warehouse, a Hobie, and one of the
Warehouse.
And Tackle Warehouse. And
Hobie.
let me not rush past this one. One of the newest sponsors and pretty amazing game, might I add, the Fisherman Fishing Planet game right here. I got a chance to play this last week. We shot a little commercial, even though Riz and Brian kicked my ass. I'm not the best at video games, but I'm learning. But this is a pretty amazing deal. We're right on the heels of Christmas. If you're looking for a game, if you've got an angler that you know, they want a little stocking stuffer, this is it right here. Go to the Fisherman, #fishingplanet.com, and you can find out how to get this amazing game. It's a good one, Pete. It's really good.
Fun. Jake and I were playing on the Xbox.
You were? Did Jake like it?
Yeah. Jake.
There you have it.
He dialed in instantly, like just immediately. Started finding tricks.
I think we
ways
should.
Yeah.
to catch him. Of course, he spent like the last 150,000 hours playing Fortnite.
Yes.
So he's pretty handy with the remote control.
Yes. You're right on it, Mike. I think we should announce the beer of the night.
Yeah, let's go ahead and announce this. And Brian the Carpenter, I don't know where I'm looking here, but we'll give you a little highlight of this. We love to do these reality, what I call reality tastings of founders. And I'm going to show you right here. I'm going to show you
Give us a pour, Mike.
the beer of the night. And of course, founders, every show you see us drinking founders, and I love trying new ones. This one tonight is being brought to us by Brian, a very special one. This is CBS, Brian the Carpenter. This is a limited edition run.
Canadian breakfast stout.
Canadian breakfast stout.
Imperial stout.
Imperial stout comes in at a whopping like 11%, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Call me clack clack. And we're going to be drinking this CBS tonight. Look at it coming out. Look at how rich and thick and malty and luscious that looks. It almost looks like a chocolate coming right out of the glass.
Yes,
Look at
it
that.
has notes of chocolate, and it is, and coffee, and aged in a maple bourbon barrel.
Maple bourbon barrel. There you have it. Founders, the KBS right there. CBS. I'm sorry, CBS.
CBS, not to be confused with CBD.
Or KBS.
I like
Or
a breakfast
KBS.
stout.
Wow. It smells good. The nose on it was phenomenal. Nose on it's phenomenal. We've got a great show, Pete. Before we start this thing up, we want to thank the military, active and veterans, men and women. Thank you guys for what you do. Also, police, EMT, firemen, crazy world. Thank you for your service.
I saw the Marines at the airport
You did?
heading down to Raleigh. There were, I guess they've got boot camp coming.
Yeah.
Or, down in that region off of North Carolina.
Yeah.
Paris Island, I think. They run a lot of their stuff down there, I guess. But all the Marines were there, men and women.
Yeah.
And, picking up their bags. And it was pretty cool. The coolest thing I saw, and I love this, and I know we do it every show, but random people coming through the airport
awesome.
would
Yeah.
stop up. And they're kids. They look like kids to me, but they're young men and women. And they would thank them for their service, thank them for what they're doing for us.
Yeah.
And I thought that was awesome.
It's awesome. Well, I was traveling on Veterans Day through the airport, and I saw the same thing. I saw anytime you saw servicemen or women in uniform, you'd see people going up to them and saying, "I appreciate your service." It's great.
We do appreciate it.
Yeah, we do appreciate it. I was actually we're going to be talking about this. Maybe we start with this. We got a chance, Pete, to go to my first LSU football game. Go Tigers! And I know. I'm going to be honest with you. I traditionally have not been a college football fan. I'm not saying there's college football in the Northeast isn't a thing, but for me growing up, it was always, we followed the professional teams, the Eagles, the Flyers, the Sixers, the Phillies, all the Philly teams. So as a kid, that's what I grew up in, that environment. So I never really got into the college scene. So this was the first experience I had with the phenomenon, which is Southern college football. Incredible. I mean, everything about it, Pete, from the excitement and the energy, the tailgating, the festivities, the game itself, the support. How many? I can't even fathom how many thousands. What does that stadium hold? If somebody
Close
knows,
to 100.
100,000.
Yeah, most of those stadiums
Yeah.
they're all pushing 100.
I'd say that's an accurate number. So if you can imagine and visualize 100,000 people, of which 95,000 of them are Tigers fans.
It'll make the hair on your arm stand up.
It's pretty amazing.
It's electric.
And I mean, everybody rocking the colors, doing the chants. I mean, it's just the energy. It reminds you of a Bassmaster. I guess the closest thing in tournament fishing would be the Bassmaster Classic or my win in Philadelphia in 2014. That kind of energy.
Yeah.
There wasn't 100,000 fans there, but it felt like that.
Yeah.
It felt like that. So I got to see that. And on top of all this, I'm seeing my daughter Riley, which is great. But we're at this game. We have phenomenal seats. I mean, we've got these seats that are literally, I'm standing with the players,
Nice.
And you could get a sense of how big these guys are,
Yep.
It's pretty amazing.
And they're an amazing team.
Amazing
this year.
team.
I mean, aren't
Amazing.
they ranked first? They're number one.
Well, they're
Are they
right there
ranked?
with Ohio State. I don't know exactly how to do the ranking, but they're one or two.
Yeah,
they're right there at the
they're
top.
having an amazing year.
I think Ohio State and the Tigers are both undefeated this year. Both have undefeated seasons. So exciting game. They had a great, amazing game. But, dude, what are the odds that I want to say it's about the beginning of the third quarter, they get another touchdown, and I'm Becky and I and Riley are standing there watching this, and all of a sudden the camera guy from ESPN comes by, and we're live on camera for about 10 or 15 seconds. Like,
That's so cool.
It's the craziest thing, and my phone starts blowing up. Oh my god, I saw you. And it's crazy. What are the odds?
The camera is drawn to you.
It must be.
It
Or
finds you.
yeah, or Becky had her Gucci necklace on, so it might have been the Gucci necklace.
Maybe
It's
so.
a big tiger Gucci necklace. But the other thing we did that was really cool, Pete, I want to mention a tie into the military, is we got to go to the Baton Rouge waterfront, and they've got art museum and a science museum and this cool waterfront area. But they have a Navy ship, an old Navy ship, like we do in Camden, old retired Navy ship, and we got to
An
tour.
old wooden ship.
It's not wooden, but it's an old World War I, World War II retired warship, and I got to tour that thing. It's incredible how tight the quarters were in those old ships. I mean, I'm walking through claustrophobic, but you're going through, you're getting a feel for what these guys had to go through,
Right.
and in battle. I tried envisioning myself, in that, and it was
Tiny
incredible.
spaces.
Yeah, it was really it was an amazing feeling. I felt very humbled by it, and crazy, man, crazy.
Baton Rouge.
Baton Rouge. Baton Rouge, yes. But it was a great week. Once again, shout out to LSU. Go Tigers. Pete, while I'm doing all this stuff, I like to check up on my social media. And on the front side of that, I had a little Toyota commercial shoot I did with Gerald Swindle. And this whole time I'm watching yourself and Justin Kimball and a few of the guys and our own Riz down there at the Cashin event. Looks like you guys had a great time. Tell me a little bit about that, and then something special happened at the tail end of that. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Oh yeah, well the the whole Bass University crew was down there just about, and Cash and Rods is one of our primary sponsors over at the Bass University.
I told you.
So is it strong?
Wow. We just got an initial reaction. From
I'm
Mike.
sorry. I'm sorry, Pete. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Breaking
But
the action.
the first, I shut my mouth for a second. I'm letting you talk, and I'm listening to what you're saying. And I took my first zip. I'm going to take my second. God, it's good.
How good is
Wow.
Damn.
Dude, this is hands down, and I'm going to say this, hands down, probably the best beer I ever had in my life.
that? It's amazing.
It's
Wow.
amazing. Now,
It's
this,
expensive, but you know where your money's going.
yeah, this for sure,
Into my stomach.
Founders CBS, this for sure isn't one that you're going to pound at a tailgate.
Oh no.
You're not putting 20 or 30s down, but this beer going down is really good.
Yeah, take it easy because we got a long night. That proved to be a bad tactical.
Okay, I'm going to take it easy. All right, Pete, I'm sorry. I interrupt you.
Well, Cash and Rods is a great company. We met we known Matt Cashin for a while, but we got to visit with him and Paul Benson, who runs. He's vice president down there. But we got to see how the rods were made. They're made right here in America. The people from
Love
North
that.
Carolina are great bunch of folks working in the shop. We saw how the rods are rolled, the heating process, how all the craftsmanship that goes into the handles and the whole building process. So it's pretty awesome to see that done right here. So we got to do that. We filmed some of that for Bass University. So we're
Awesome.
That's good. And for Cashin, so you're going to be seeing that available real soon. And the Cashin crew, these are guys that pro staff guys from Cashin, from California to the East Coast, and
All over the
everywhere
country.
in between, all over the country.
Yeah.
So we had great time visiting with them, and we had great food down there, and we got to film a little bit with John Cruz and Rob Dye from the Rookie Elite. Who cooked all the food for us.
Wow.
Which was amazing. We had we had fish fry, we had just amazing food. So it was an awesome time, right? We're down there, we're grabbing content, doing cool stuff with Cashin and having a lot of fun. And then we capped it off with the Cashin Crew Fishing Derby
Cash and Crew Fishing Derby.
Yes.
I like the name of that. Now, what are we talking about? Owners here? Are we talking about pro staff? We talking about who? Are we talking about?
We're talking about just the pro staff members, and Matt was there, but he didn't fish this time, and Paul Benson did. Just everybody involved with caching was down there competing.
Nice.
I don't know, there was 20 or 30 of us down there. I don't know how many, but we duked it out on Lake Jordan in North Carolina, which
know Jordan.
I have never been to Lake Jordan.
It's a good lake. Really
I think
good lake.
you have a tournament coming up there.
We have a tournament coming up there, and I also competed there last year in Major League Fishing. I had a
Okay.
really good event on Jordan. So
I was blown away.
A lot of
by
big fish.
Lake Jordan.
a lot of big fish.
The abundance of life. Like I remember when I went to Grand and I idled across the lake, and there was like shad from one side to the other.
Yeah.
Pelicans everywhere. Lake Jordan's right there with it. Like shad. I mean, you couldn't.
Fertile
drive.
lake.
So much bait, so much threadfin.
Yeah.
And the cormorants by the thousands, and the seagulls by the tens of thousands.
Shout out to cormorants.
Yeah, we're all out there. We're all chomping the bait right along with the bass. And,
Yeah.
So yeah, we had a good time. Me and JK, professional fish head, got teamed up to fish in that tournament.
Yeah.
And we had a pretty good day.
And you got the big win. I saw you guys won, and also saw an extremely large fish
Yes.
posted on your social media. You want to talk a little bit about that fish? That was a
shout
giant.
out to Wigglewort.
Wigglewort. Shout out to Wigglewort.
Shout out to the Wigglewort.
AKA Storm, AKA Rapala. Shout out to Wigglewort.
Yeah, it was a big deal. We had been out filming, and we fished with John and Rob. We fished all over the lake, and we didn't catch anything.
Wow.
Right? There was like the lake was. It was kind of one of those deals where you're like, wait a minute. There's not even a random bank burner around.
Yeah.
These fish got to be wadded up somewhere.
Stacked, yeah.
They got to be, because
Yeah.
it can't be like that void.
Right.
So, at the end of the day, Cruz and us bumped into each other on a causeway, a riprap bridge abutment. And we watched John on the micro jig.
Yeah.
On his micro jig, jack about a 4-pounder.
Wow.
And his partner caught one about 3, just like that.
Yeah.
And we were fishing in the same area. It wasn't 20 minutes later that we started getting into them, and we had 9 bites in that neck, in that choke point.
Yeah.
And the lake was lowering. The riprap has depth
Yeah.
to it, but it was sunny and bright. And we were finesse fishing them that day.
Yeah.
Right before the sun went down. And the next day we were working, and we weren't on the water. So the tournament day, it's rainy, just wind, cold rain, just endless rain. And we decided to go back there, and we're starting out with finesse stuff.
Yeah.
And it wasn't happening. And we switched up to cranking, and we got a bite. And the thing is, the cool thing. Like, I couldn't get bit on a chartreuse, couldn't get bit on a shad pattern. It was a crawl pattern.
It's crazy. All the shad in there, shad everywhere, and the crawfish
Why
pattern.
the crawl pattern?
Wow.
I have no idea. But I have 2 theories. Either the fish were actually feeding on crawfish on the riprap, or you needed something that didn't look like a shad
Right. You had to stand out.
to get their attention.
Yeah. Could be. Could be a little bit of both, maybe.
Maybe a little bit of both.
Yeah.
But we started once we dialed into the crawl wigglewort. We just started every 15 minutes we put a fish in the boat. And,
Wow.
And then we capped it off with 8.3.
That's giant.
It's huge.
Wow.
Total pandemonium in the boat.
Wow.
It was crazy. I was telling Riz about it. Like, I hooked, we had caught some fish, and they were just 2-pounders,
Yeah.
And then I hooked up on this fish, and how I hooked up on it is it's like all the time this happens. And it's got to happen to you too. Like when you're fishing with somebody, they're hung up in the rocks.
Yeah.
So I'm moving the boat in to get the bait unhung.
Yeah. To get them unstuck. Yeah.
And I I make a parallel cast.
Oh, yeah. You bomb it way down
way down.
there.
And I make a couple cranks, and I'm looking to try to get his. I'm not even looking at my rod.
Yeah.
Dunk, and there she is. And now the boat, now I'm like, the rod's loaded. I recognize this is a big fish. Now Jeff's in the boat with us. He's filming.
Yeah.
And
So we captured this on film.
we got some of it on film.
Okay.
But it was pandemonium. Like I got this fish loaded up. JK is scrambling for the net. He's lightning on the net.
Yeah.
I mean, you even pretend hook set. He's
Yeah.
there standing at your feet with the
Wow.
net. He's lightning with
Sounds like all Riz's partners from the last couple of years.
It sounds like me.
it. But he's there with the net. And meanwhile, like, I'm off the trolling motor, and we're in Jeff's brand new Ranger boat that costs like $100,000.
Nice.
And it's going at way too fast, heading for the riprap.
Smash right into them rocks.
Right, and I'm
break
like-
it in right.
And Jeff doesn't really know what's going on. Like,
Yeah.
he's not used to tournament fishing or
Yeah.
fishing in general. He
Yeah.
doesn't even really realize I have a fish. I don't think. You know? And he's standing on the deck like, why are these guys running around like crazy people? And so, and I'm like loading up. I can't hardly breathe and talk. And I'm talking probably like a sergeant, like a military guy, barking orders now. You know? And I'm like, Jeff, get the trolling motor. And you know, he's got one of the new Minn Kota Ultrexes, and he's looking at it like it's a robot. Like
I look at this
all right,
equipment every
I
show.
think
Right.
I think I saw Pete step on this pedal, and the boat's just ripping into the riprap, you know. And I'm worried about his boat, so I'm like trying to get him to help with the boat, but he couldn't figure it out in time, so the boat crashes into the riprap. And then the fish comes up, and we see the size of it, and it's just huge. And we managed to capture that fish. So
Wow.
it was quite a moment.
Crazy. So what did you weigh? You had an 8-pounder in there. What's your total weight? I'm
We had
expecting-
19 and a quarter.
Okay. So you had 4 fish that were okay, and then a giant.
Yeah. We had one that was close to 4, the
Yeah.
giant, and
Yeah.
then we had all like 2 3/4,
Okay.
2 1/2.
It's a pretty good bag.
It was fun.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun. We and you know, we caught them all on one stretch.
Wow.
One stretch of riprap. We actually decided to try a new stretch of riprap, but we didn't catch any there. But
Yeah.
but it's so full of life, Lake Jordan. The speck fishermen, the crappie fishermen, were out with all their spider
Spider
rods.
rigging. Yeah.
And, dude, I've never seen people catch crappie like that.
Wow.
Like, every boat was just like, there's one. Every time you looked at them, somebody was netting a fish.
Yeah.
And there were 15 boats all around us.
That's awesome.
Getting those big old specks. But,
That's awesome.
A lot of fun. Big thanks to Cash and Rods for hosting that event. We had a blast, and we look forward to coming back next year. And I also want to mention to everybody, Bass University, we have our early bird special discount that expires on Wednesday night.
I said Wednesday.
Wednesday. So we got all of our classes listed. We're gonna be
Is that the whole schedule officially?
What's that?
The whole schedule's listed.
We have four tournament or 4 events listed. We got one more coming, but we'll have a
Okay.
special discount for that one when it comes
Okay.
out. But for the events, we're going to be in South Carolina, Minnesota, Indiana, and we are also going to be back in Gadsden, Alabama. So you can check that all out at thebassuniversity.com, and it's 25% off. It's early bird discount. It ends Wednesday, guys. So take advantage of that.
It's awesome.
Thank you, Cash and Rods.
Yeah,
Thank
Cash
you,
and Rods.
Jordan Lake.
What a cool story. I like it. A lot of stuff going on. And Brian Carpenter, I have a note here. I want to hear a little bit about it. You started talking about it. I didn't want to get too into it because I wanted to hear it from you.
That is correct.
But you did a little IG live last night.
I did. A guy hit me up. His name goes by the name of Frankie Provolone.
Oh, Frank A.
Provolone.
Frankie Provolone. He runs something called Slay Nation Tournament Fishing. Slay Nation Tournament Fishing.
Okay.
So what Slay Nation is, it's a small boat trail. John boats, kayaks, canoes, whatever you can get on the water with. This is the tournament trail. It's all CPR, catch, photograph, release, done just like a kayak.
Like a
trail.
kayak event, yeah.
But
Yeah.
you don't have to be in a kayak. It's all inclusive.
Right.
You can fish it solo. You can fish it with a buddy. So guys in a kayak can be fishing against a couple guys in a john boat.
Yeah.
Whatever. It's not overly regulated.
Yeah.
It's just kind of more of an all-inclusive trail. And so my mic is off.
Yeah, I can't hear you.
I can't hear me either.
I couldn't, but I didn't know. I didn't know enough.
Bet
to
it's on now.
Oh, it's on now.
Thank you for the text message, Jason.
All right, from the top.
So I did an Instagram live with a man named Frankie Provolone last night. I'll move fast. Oh, God. So Frankie runs something called Slay Nation Tournament Fishing. It's a small boat tournament trail. John boats, kayaks, canoes, all of the above can get in these events. He's out of Connecticut. There's 9 different states that are running these trails this year, and I believe in 2019 and 2020, they're looking at 15, 16 different states, all up and down the East Coast, down in the Carolinas, Texas. But like I said, getting a John boat, you can fish it as buddies or you can fish it by yourself. Kayak guys, canoe guys, catch photographs, photograph and release. So it's a cool deal.
Yeah.
So he hit me up and wanted me to do an IG live because he saw the boat build that we did.
Yeah.
And, so it was a good deal.
That's cool.
And the boat is just about ready to go.
It's
too,
cool.
So it's
Yeah.
looking pretty sick.
It amazes me that there's been this rebirth, of this tiny boat interest, and I think a lot of us started out that way.
Yeah.
And for us, for Brian and I and the old Top Rod guys, it was how we all started, back in the 80s and 90s, late 80s, early 90s. So it's cool to see this coming full circle and this tiny boat movement. In fact, you want to go ahead, Brian, make the big announcement that one of our next shows, one of our upcoming shows.
Yeah, hopefully the next one.
Will be a
Tiny boat.
boat special. Tiny
Yes.
Boat Ike Live.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. I'm excited about that.
There's
one.
a really cool Facebook page, Tiny Boat Nation.
Yep. Shout out Tiny Boat Nation. Yep.
Yeah,
I follow it. Yep.
Very cool page. A lot of guys on there, all about boat mods. Everybody asking questions and souping up their boats and posting it up. Real cool page. I've been talking to a few guys on that page about coming on that show, Skyping in,
Yeah.
talking about what they do. But some dudes do some really badass work over there.
That's awesome. Well, I know
cool. I like it.
I know a lot of you watching and listening right now have followed the build, the Ike Live build, which has been incredible. And it seems like, to me, it hasn't been a super long time, but it seems like a long time. But here we are at the final chapter, I would say,
Yes,
right? Correct,
yes.
Brian?
Oh,
It's
correct.
almost ready. We got a few last minute things to do.
She's done.
Wow.
She's done. There's just the wrap.
Yeah.
We're going to get her wrapped.
Wow.
So.
That's incredible. I'm excited. And I heard a rumor going around the office today. Is there a possibility that boat will be at the Bassmaster Classic in 2020?
Yes.
Fishing it.
Wow. Fishing it. There you have it.
I did not hear that rumor, but that's a good idea.
I heard that rumor floating around that it might be at the Bassmaster Classic this
I
year.
like that idea.
Be cool. I wonder, is it going to be in the stadium with us at our booth, or is it going to be
We're going to
floating around on the
broadcast
water?
off of it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm usually too busy to do anything, so I
Yeah.
don't know how it'll work, but I
I'm-
like the idea.
I'm very interested in that. It'll
Indeed.
definitely get some eyeballs if it's in the arena, wouldn't it? Mm-hmm. Wow. I wonder if we can make that happen. We'll see. Pretty awesome. I mentioned this. Yeah, Riz, you got something?
Yeah, I just got some shout outs here on the message board. New York Chris, Greg, Wild Bill, Barrett, Jason Beck, Wawa Hoagie Lady, Greg, Jerry from New Hampshire, the Cormorant, Dalton Bobo.
The cormorant.
Dalton Bobo.
Pete Wigglewort and and Paul Batters are all hanging out with us. And somebody on the message board, Mr. Barrett, was out fishing today with his son. And Barrett's son had his PB on at the boat. And they had a botched net job similar to the BTC Riz incident. And Barrett's son lost his PB, but we want to just give you a shout out, buddy. Keep your head up. Keep fishing.
Never
and you'll
give
get
up.
it.
Keep
Yeah.
fishing. Never give up. You should have had Justin in the boat with you.
Yes.
You would have landed that thing.
That's the next BU seminar from Justin Kimmel
Yep.
is netting your partner's fish.
It should be.
Yes.
It should be.
He netted one that escaped the crankbait.
Wow.
And he got it.
He got it.
That's
I've
crazy.
been known to make plays with the damn net.
Yep.
I just booted that one.
Yeah.
I swear I'm a good net guy.
Wow, that's incredible. I wanted to circle back on one thing, which is right before the LSU trip, I was out in California for a few days with Gerald Swindle, the one-known Gerald Swindle, filming out there for Toyota, doing some commercial stuff, doing a little bit of print stuff. I actually very, very top secret on exactly what the print and commercial stuff's for. But I want to say for Toyota fans watching right now, some very exciting things launching and happening from Toyota in the next few months. So keep your eye out for that. And
Anything like Tesla's new vehicle?
to Tesla's, no. Throwing the rocket is going No, nothing like that. But I did want to say something, and I don't want to be too premature with this, but I will say it to build up a little more excitement for the next show. And hopefully it's the Tiny Boat Show. And but Gerald, Mr. G-Man Swindle, is going to have a really big announcement coming up here very shortly.
Ooh, I'm intrigued.
There's a lot of big announcements coming from a lot of people. We heard Bobby Lanes a few weeks ago about Frog Togs. So Gerald's got a big announcement coming up. Of course, he just announced he switched to Phoenix Boats, which was big. But he's got a big announcement coming. And he assured me that once he makes this announcement official, we would be one of the first podcasts. He wouldn't say the first.
Gerald.
I couldn't get him to commit. He would say we'd be one of the first podcasts.
In the top 10?
In the top 10 for sure.
Come on, Gerald. Come rock with the boys.
That he would come on and talk about it. So we appreciate that, G. Excited about what you're going to talk about here and whenever you make the announcement. But it's going to be good. So keep your eye out for that as well. It's going to be going.
Yes.
Yes. Brian Carpenter, what else we got? I have a little note about Becky, and it just says, Becky dealing with everyone's bullshit.
Well, we were doing a round the room catch up, and I figured I didn't want to leave.
I
Becky
would throw
out.
that in there. She does deal with a lot of bullshit. So
that's
it's
all.
very true. It's very true.
Shout out to Beck.
Shout out to Beck. Once again, if you're tuning in, man, we got a great show for you tonight. We've got Jody Queen, the winner of the recent Hobie Boss Championship. Up next, professional kayak angler coming up real soon. We're going to talk to Jody. Very, very interesting story. Not just his win down in Arkansas, but the fact that he's made a career out of this. I want to talk to him about that.
What?
Yeah, it's crazy. And then after Jody, in the second segment, we're going to have the one and only Scott Martin coming on. And first time on Ike Live. Very excited to have him on. An icon in his own right in the sport of fishing.
True.
One of the guys that's changing the face of the sport through his TV show, through his YouTube channel, through digital content. Very excited to talk to him about that. He's been on the cutting edge of that stuff, Pete, and I want to pick his brain. But also, you know, Scott's made a big announcement a week ago or so about coming back to bass. And I saw the announcement coming home. You know, it felt like Scott was coming home to bring things full circle, obviously with his father's success. So we're going to be talking to Scott about that, a big announcement that he made, and some other stuff with Scott. So it's going to be a great show. Brian Carpenter, you want to take a little break here? You want
Let's
to
take a break, come back with Jody
Okay,
Queen.
yes, listen to me. Keep on watching. When we come back, we've got Jody Queen on talking about his recent win, and, of course, Scott Martin a little bit later in the show. Hang in there. When we come back, more Like Life.
Hi, today we're going chest to chest in the Dr. Squatch lather test. On that half of Mike's impressive chest, we're rubbing him down with 3 name brand bars. The result? A sad, milky film of disappointment. How's that feel, Mike? You see, Big Soap cuts corners and strips out all the sudsy goodness in order to make production cheaper. But not Dr. Squatch. Don't worry, Mike. Dr. Squatch soap retains all the natural ingredients, which creates a rich, foamy lather, leaving your skin healthy, soft, and clean. Ooh, looks like Squatch is taking over this peck party. How do you feel now, Mike? Dr. Squatch Natural Soap. When we say it lathers, it f***ing lathers. You deserve glorious lather. Take the lather challenge.
Oh, I'm on. Yes, I'm in.
And then on the producer, just put.
Get up here. That's a good bass. This
Bro.
spot's put out 3 times in a row. Brian, I'm on hotspot.
Dude.
Dude, this place is putting out. Just keep throwing the shaky head.
Yeah, all right. We got work to do, homie.
Oh, I'm on. Doubled up. 2 casts in a row.
Back.
This is a big one. Grip and drag.
It's goofing off over there.
Another bluegill.
Riz, get to work! Charles, did you get my email about that new potential sponsor?
Yeah, I got it. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What was that all?
Yep.
Charles,
Sure did.
what are you doing?
I'm checking my email. Hello.
Why's the dude next to me got one when I can't catch one?
Michael! Mike! Mike, what's up? Let's go to the gym! Mike! Mike! Michael!
4.5-inch drop shot worm, Bama bug. Finesse jig, PB&J, give me something hard. Hey, KVD here. Now, I didn't always know this much about fishing. 4-aught EWG worm hook. In fact, there was a time when I couldn't tell the difference between a jerkbait and a stickbait. But then I signed up for Mystery Tackle Box, the original monthly tackle subscription. And now I know more about fishing than I do about calculus.
And he knows a lot about calculus.
Plus, I get amazing extras like free fishing magazines. October 2016. Featured article, 4 places to throw a frog. Exclusive decals. Zombie bass. And how-to videos for all the great baits I receive. How to tune a crankbait. Is that underwater footage I smell?
I got goosebumps.
So if you're looking to develop enhanced fishing abilities like me, or you just like getting new tackle every month, go to mysterytacklebox.com and get your box today. Ooh, live minnows. Is it lunchtime already? Nature's candy. Oh. Is he in my pocket?
Definitely recommend putting a little bit of this on your soft plastics too. There he is. Another one. Next cast. And that would be number 6. I'm addicted. I'll admit it. I'm straight addicted.
This might be bigger.
You think so?
Yeah. Feels bigger. I haven't even seen this thing yet. It doesn't want to come up. Don't break me off the rocks.
Oh, it's a... Oh!
27-incher.
He caught it.
28.
Oh my god, that's such a healthy fish. Look at the size. Put a little liquid mayhem on your crappie jig, and look where the stripers get it. You can't even see it, man. That might be a keeper.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Ike Live. Thanks for hanging in there with us. Let me remind you, you're watching a brand new Ike Live episode. We've got special guests Jody Queen and Scott Martin on tonight's show. We've got Jody coming up here in a second. Let me remind you, if you're watching on Facebook right now, like and share this feed. You will be entered in a contest to win the Ike Live gift bag. You see it right here between me and Pete next to the chicken head. It's loaded with all the sponsor products from Ike Live. Mystery Tackle Box, TH Marine, Dr. Squatch, Primal Lurch Foods, Liquid Mayhem, Flambeau, Founders, Tackle Warehouse, OB. All great stuff in that tackle bag. So like and share your feed on Facebook. You're going to be entered to win a prize in that contest. Also, if you're watching on IkeLive.com, we want to hear from you. Chime in there on the instant messaging. If you've got any questions for Jody or Scott a little later in the show, please let us know. We're going to be selecting some of those IMs also for some great prizes toward the end of the second segment. Man, I'm excited, Brian. We've got this guy on the phone. I got to see him in person a few weeks ago and got to experience this really, really cool event from afar. You know what I mean? And Pete, you know the deal. You're a tournament guy. I'm a tournament guy. We're both fish heads. But when you're at an event and you get to watch it, you know, as hard as it is in some respects, you do gain an appreciation for it a little more because you're watching it unfold. You know, you're seeing everything as it happens. And I got to watch this thing. It's pretty exciting, man. You know, it's such a growing aspect of the world of fishing, and it's such a platform that's new and unique, you know, and that's what makes it exciting. And I got to see it. I got to see this guy win 20 grand for a kayak tournament. Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy. How were you able to watch? Like, did they have live broadcast?
They do. We're going to get him on here in a second, but they did a tremendous job of covering it live via Facebook. And also, they use the system, and we're going to get Jody to talk about it, but the system of watching the guys input their catches. And it's a really interesting system because you can sort of do it as you catch them, or you could wait, or you could dribble them in. So it adds this layer of tournament fishing, which is exciting. Sandbagging. We're going to be talking about all that. But let's not keep them any longer. We've got him on the phone right now. Once again, the champion, the recent winner a few weeks ago of the Hobie Boss Championship down in Arkansas, the one and only Jody Queen, joins us on Ike Live tonight. Jody Queen, Jody.
What's up, guys?
How you doing?
Good, buddy. How you doing, Ike?
Good. It seemed like yesterday that we're in a room talking, congratulating you, handing you trophies, and handing you big, giant checks with a lot of zeros on it.
Crazy.
It's crazy. Now, I can already see it in your face, but let me ask you, has all this set in yet? Because I can see the smile. That's that same smile I saw 2 weeks ago. It hasn't left your face.
Yeah. I'm just, it's a permanent thing on me now. So, it just won't go away. So I hope it never goes away. I'm still, soaking it all in and trying to, I've already got my schedule made out for this year, and I'm getting ready to go to my next tournament down in it's a KBF tournament down in Florida, down on around the Lake George area down there. So I'm already getting back into it, man. I can't stay away from it for too long.
That's awesome. Now I know we've got a lot of people watching and listening to tonight's show that aren't hardcore kayak anglers. They're they're bass boat guys or they're little John boat guys. They don't know about this world. Tell us a little bit about what was the Hobie Championship down in Arkansas. I mean, it was a big deal. It was 50 of the world's best guys. But tell me a little bit about how you got there and the dynamic of that tournament a little bit.
Yeah, the Hobie BOS Series, which is the Bass Open Series, this is its first big year. And the way it was set up this year, you could qualify by winning or placing in the top tier of anglers in a regular BOS tournament. And they also had satellite tournaments, which were usually a little smaller tournaments in areas where, these tournaments aren't usually held. So that they had a larger reach for the people who could get in. And that's how I qualified. They actually had a river tournament here on the New River, which is where I cut my teeth, growing up. And I'm a big smallmouth guy around here. I love it. I love smallmouth. So when I seen it was coming to town, and AJ McWhorter, who pioneered this whole thing, he called me and said, "Hey, man, I've got a satellite come around your area. You're going to be there, right?" And I said, "Absolutely." So, I qualified by winning that tournament. And it qualified me for the Tournament of Champions. And they also had what they call a shootout the day before the actual TOC, where they had four spots left. And then if you came in the top four, then you could also fish the TOC the next day. And it's 50 of the top anglers in the BOS series.
Yeah. Well, I was, Pete, I was impressed. And to give you some context, we are on what I would call giant lake, Lake Ouachita. In Arkansas, home of Mark Davis, by the way, which is really cool. But giant lake, so many options. When I got there, you look around, and you're like, how the hell do these guys figure out where to fish? So not only a giant lake with all three species of bass, but a massive cold front that hit right on the heels of this event. So, Jody, I got to tell you, honestly, watching it, I was so impressed by the ability for you guys, and not just you, but I would say a lot of the top 10, the ability to find them, to dial in, to adjust. Talk a little bit about that, because, there were about 3 or 4 of you guys that were super consistent, got on the pattern right away, and you did it almost flawlessly. Talk a little bit about that.
I mean, like you said, the cold front, and of course it dropped like 3 inches of rain on us too. Yeah. And I think that actually helped us a bit. It felt like a cold rain when you was in it, but it didn't really cool the water down that much in certain areas. It did in the creeks, but I was fishing a flat area surrounded by 2 creeks, and it kind of just trapped that water up on that flat, and that water it stayed warm. It was about 58 degrees, and then in the channels it was right around 49, which those small creeks running in that time of the year, when it gets cold at night, they chill down anyway. Yeah, and so, I mean, these guys like, Cody Milton and Matthew Scotch and Corey Dreyer and Jay Wallen, and I mean, these guys we all use the same equipment you big bass boat guys use. I mean, we have, Elite 9 TIs and Carbon Pros. I mean, we have all the same stuff on those kayaks. They're really rigged out. So, our equipment really helps us a lot to figure out these things. But yeah, it's, when the cold front moved in, I thought those fish were going to move deep, and I was totally wrong. The spots that I had during pre-fishing, there were some fish still there, but they were really small and they really weren't that active. So yeah, I moved back to that shallow water and found a lot of wood and a lot of stick-ups in a small creek, and ended up going to a bigger area because I knew I was going to be fishing there for 2 days, and it had the same kind of stuff on it, and that's what I concentrated on for 2 days.
Wow, that's incredible. Pete, I know this isn't the Bass University show, but it's never ceased to amaze me how shallow you can get in the fall. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Like, it's almost like in the fall, you can never get too shallow at certain times, And I think this was a classic example of it. You're on a lake with 100 foot of water and spots and smallmouths, and the guys fishing shallow absolutely dominated in this event,
Well, we saw that with you, and I noticed something that you caught him on a jackhammer.
I did,
which is a vibrating jig.
Yes.
What intrigued me is, and you were talking about slow rolling that through brush piles and brush and wood.
Yes.
I can never get that bait through wood. How'd you manage to do that?
Yeah. To be honest, they love wood. I mean, if you get them close, a lot of times they'll hang up. But, I was in such shallow water, I really didn't care if I got hung up because I could just go over and snatch it loose, or run my rod down it and get it loose. So I really wasn't all that worried about it. If I'd been really rolling that thing deep, I probably would have been scared to do it. But, no, and a lot of those fish I caught I caught a lot of fish in 18 inches of water to 3 feet of water.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
so
crazy.
I was actually amazed too. And I started out with a spinnerbait, and I did catch one nice fish on a spinnerbait, but I threw and threw after that, and they just wouldn't hit it. And, when I hit around that stuff, I usually, as soon as it hits the water, I just give it a little pop and it'll swirl a little bit because it kind of hunts on that first jerk. It'll hunt a little bit, and when it swirls like that and starts dropping, it's like a spinnerbait, man. They'll bust it.
Yeah, it's an awesome bait. I've seen that thing outperform a spinnerbait a lot. Occasionally go the other way, but it's definitely can be dominant. Now, Jody, I'm looking right now, and I see in your background, I see a couple big high-dollar checks sitting there in the background. But I think I asked you this before. Is this the biggest single day or 2 day tournament payday that you've had in your professional career so far?
Yes. This was the big one for me. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome. It's a big deal, and I know from talking to people when I got home that still don't understand this kayak world. 20,000 is a lot. There are guys locally here that fish locally, semi-pro trails locally, that don't win 20 grand the whole year fishing. So to see that kind of money coming into kayak bass fishing and kayak fishing, it's incredible. I think that's a sign of the growth of the sport. Let me step back and talk to you a little bit about being a full-time pro here, because that I think a lot of people watching, listening right now are saying, "Oh my God, I want to do this." They're chopping at the bit. They're kayak guys, or they're anglers that want to get into a kayak, and they're saying, "Man, Jody's doing it full-time. Man, I want to just go ahead and jump right in and be a full-time kayak angler too." But it's not as easy as that, right? I know it's been a little bit of a short curve for you, learning, you've been in it 5 or 6 years full-time, but talk a little bit about the jump that you made into it and the commitment it takes to do it full-time.
Well, I mean, first of all, you have to understand that you're not going to be living high on the hog. I'm pretty easy. I don't require a lot. So, and I do have a little bit of supplemental income. I'm also an artist. I'm sure you can see that I'm in my studio right now. And I have a little bit of supplement from that. And, I'll build a porch for my mom every now and then. But yeah, my main source of income is this. And, and before you get into it, you have to understand that it's going to be work. It's going to be work like anything else. I mean, what you put into it
so if
is what you're
somebody's
going to
watching
get out.
right now and they want a yellow Lamborghini like Skeet Reese, it isn't automatically going to happen.
No.
Okay.
No. No, I mean, it takes work. Like I say, planning. Even with your tournaments, the way you plan your tournaments is a strategy.
Yeah.
And you try to pick the tournaments that you're going to feel most comfortable with on the lakes. Learning all these lakes, and you have to travel. If you try to do this from your home and just travel to a lake when a tournament comes up, it's probably going to be twice as hard on you.
Right.
Get out to those lakes that you're going to fish. Try to get some time on them, get familiar with them, and just, man, sometimes you just got to say, I'm going to go for it.
Yeah. Now
you'll know within my first year I paddled to the 10. I didn't have a motor. I didn't have anything but a paddle and a small river boat. I think it was a Jackson Coosa, and I paddled that boat to the 10, which is a prestigious thing in the KBF, and from then I knew from then on this is what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
And one or the other. If I have to eat beans for the rest of my life, that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah. Well, your passion is driving you to it. Riz, we have a couple questions coming through IM for Jody.
Yeah. New York Chris would like to know from you, Jody, when you're getting ready for a tournament. We have a lot of kayak anglers that watch our show as well. When you're getting ready for a tournament, how do you decide how much tackle you're going to bring, which rods you're going to bring, and how do you store it? Like, give us a little bit of insight on your system.
Well, I try, like anybody else, I try to take everything I can take, but you want to concentrate mostly on what the fish are doing at that time of the year. I will go back and watch. I watched Ike today on Jordan down there. You guys mentioned it earlier. I went back and watched him. How he did on Jordan, what he was using, how he's doing, and Mark Davis. You mentioned it was his home lake down there on Washita. I went back and watched a couple of videos on him. He was catching, on spoons mostly and crankbaits, but still, all that stuff is out there. You just have to be able to find it. Now, as far as packing my rods and stuff, I got a big black DZ box in the back of. I've got a little minivan that I travel in, and I got rod storage over top. And whatever how many rods you're comfortable with, I usually take at least 6 rods with me out on the water. Just according to deep running baits, shallow running baits, spinner baits, chatter baits, just until you get that feel for it. I mean, you have to get out and pre-fish a little bit and try to get a feel for what the fish are doing. And then from there on, Ron Champion told me one time, you can always tell the guy that's on the fish, he's only got 2 rods in his boat.
Yeah, that's the truth.
So you may not ever use all those rods, but to get something dialed in, a lot of times you'll need 6 or 8 rods with you.
Yeah. Now I want to know, Jody, what is the schedule, of a full-time professional kayak angler? What does that mean as far as logistics? Give me a breakdown of the number of events you're going to fish per year. Give me a breakdown of what it's going to cost you in entry fees per year, and what it's going to cost you in expenses. Because this is the beauty of this, Jody. What I see, why this is growing, is that professional tournament fishing on the big boat side, it's so damn expensive. Logistically, it's so out of reach for so many people. But the beauty of professional kayak anglers is, I feel like it's more obtainable. So guys watching right now that are like, man, I want to do this. Give us the reality of it. How many tournaments a year are we talking? Entry fees, expenses. What are we talking about to fish per year?
Yeah, Mike. It's an accessible sport. It really is. I mean, it's according to how heavily you want to get involved with it. But the beauty of it is you can make a small investment in it, and if it pans out, then you can increase that after you place well or you win a tournament. You can take that money immediately, turn it back over into it. That's the way I started out. I mean, I won my first tournament that I ever fished, luckily, and I just took that money and just entered tournaments. Now, on a year, I just got through with my schedule this year, and we got BASS, man. They threw their hat in the ring.
Big announcement.
Yes, this thing is getting so big. We got a KBF national championship this year that's $75,000, and if you're there's other ways. Bonus money is gonna hit $100,000.
Yeah.
So you hit a tournament like that, you're pretty well set. but with 3 big trails like the Hobie BOS and the BSS and the KBF, those trails will keep you busy enough. I mean, if you can get in those and just try to take what you earn through those and put them back toward your tournament fees and sponsors. Your sponsors, I mean, I couldn't do a lot of this without really good sponsors. I don't have a lot of sponsors if you look at my hashtag line sometimes, but I have really good sponsors and I have a really good relationship with them. But about 22 to 25 tournaments between the bass, the Hobie, and the KBF. Wow. And I fish everything I can fish. I fish local tournaments. Yeah. You know, if I've got a weekend off and I've got a local tournament, local club doing a tournament, which is another great thing. Most of these organizations, like KBF, they have a partner clubs that also support the kayak scene, and you can get into a local, and they're popping up everywhere. I know 3 partner clubs right here close to me that I can go out and fish if I have a weekend off, and some of those purses get up, $1,500, $2,000.
Wow.
So yeah, so I mean, you can any tournament that comes up, I fish it.
So what are the average? If you could give me, Jody, an average for an entry fee for these events, are we talking $100? Are we talking $1,000?
Well, no. On the like the partner clubs and the trail series, a lot of that stuff is between $100 per tournament for the trail series through KBF, and of course, almost none of them go above $200 to $250 right now. Yeah,
wow. Big
and you're winning great money because the same sponsors that sponsor the big boat tournaments are also looking at the kayak scene right now, and they're saying, "Hey, man, let's they're stepping up and putting in." You got guys like Chad Hoover out there beating on the doors, man. I mean, Chad has done so much for this sport, man. There's no way to measure what he's done. He's pioneered it.
Yeah. By the way, let me mention Chad's a good friend of ours of the show as well, and let me mention that I did beat the balls off of Chad Hoover at a one-on-one tournament and made him shave his beard before. So
what was your bait for that, Mike?
A bait for that was a Senko on a shaky head in the heart of Florida, where you shouldn't throw that bait. But
Mike,
yeah,
$5,000 annually.
$5,000 annual in entry. Big difference between the semi-pro and pro leagues of big boat fishing. Big difference.
That's one derby.
It's
on
crazy.
A big tournament.
It can be one derby, yeah.
And he's able to fish all year. That's amazing.
That's incredible.
I have a follow-up question.
Yeah.
Yeah, my entry fees for last year were right about $7,500.
Okay.
Wow.
A little higher than that. You had a few bigger tournaments. But let me ask you this about time commitment. Like for a major tournament, right, we've got 3 days of practice.
Yeah.
Or more. Like some guys will go a week in advance, 2 weeks, a
Yeah.
month.
Yeah.
What's that look like for you? I mean, are you investing that kind of time? Is there time on the road, a lot of money spent there? How do you do it?
Yeah, I mean it's you might as well say $500 a tournament for gas and lodging and which is not nearly what some have to pay, but yeah, and I usually get 3 to 4 days of practice.
Okay.
So I'm on the road. Basically, a week before the tournament, I'm down there getting stuff ready, and I'm getting on the water and doing some pre-fishing. And yeah, my wife is very understanding. We've been together almost 30 years, and she supports me, and I couldn't do it without her either. So
wow. So on the expense side, it's probably similar minus the gas money.
Minus
the gas money for the boat.
And truck.
Yep.
And truck.
Right. You still got to drive there, but you're not towing a 3,000-pound boat.
That's true.
That's right.
So you save some gas money. Riz, we got some more questions coming through for Jody.
We do. Rich O would like to know, Jody, what's your secret? And you're going to have to give up a little juice here. This is like live. We're going to put you to the screws here. What's your secret for breaking down a new lake from a kayak?
Oh, that's a good one. That's good.
Man, I tell you, I guess I try to find an area that has a little bit of every type of either cover or bottom structure in a small area. So what I will do usually is I'll pull up Google Maps or Google Earth, and I'll get on the satellite and I'll try to find these areas, because it's usually they take those pictures. The water is usually pretty clear, and you try to find features. I use Navionics, and I try to find drops, channel swings, submerged timber and stuff like that. And if I can find a lot of that in a small area that's manageable, I'll I'll go to those areas first and try to find them. And I use a Torpedo. I mean, man, yeah, those things, man, I can eliminate so much more water with a
Are
Torpedo
you
than I
allowed
can
to
with
use them during the event?
some events you can. The Hobie BOS doesn't allow Torpedoes. However, they do allow you to use them during pre-fishing, which is awesome.
Okay.
And but their events are all pedal. And but the KBF, they definitely. I mean, you talk to Chad and he'll tell you, heck yeah, I'll bring them on. Torpedo has really stepped in and supported the kayak bass fishing scene, and kudos to them for that. But man, I tell you, I couldn't do without it. I love mine. And we're coming out with a new 1103 right now. That's a 3 horsepower equivalent. So man, that thing's going to cover a lot of water.
Yeah, Torpedoes here for the Ike Live guys. We love them as well too. And the tiny boat movement. A lot of the boat builds we have here in South Jersey. A lot of these lakes are trolling motor only. Electric only. Torpedoes changed the game for us. So I know how important of a tool that can be in certain situations.
Yeah, so try to find those manageable areas, that you can cover. It's got a lot of good stuff in it, and if you pick out, part of that area and you're finding them on rocks, and it's a small area like I did this last tournament, find out where those rocks are abundant and that looks the same somewhere else on the lake, and a lot of times that works out,
Yeah. Very similar strategy, Pete, to big boat guys.
Yeah, I mean, we do. We want to be able to run the least amount of time if we can.
Yeah.
Right? We don't want to.
Yeah.
But you in a kayak, you have to be that way.
Right.
But
yeah.
Let me ask you this quick. Let me ask you a quick question, because we talked about this earlier about the mental and the how you deal with registering your fish.
Yeah.
Right now in the MLF,
God.
those fish get registered immediately. Get caught, you get announcements.
There's no questions. MLF, there's no questions. In bass, for the most part, there's no questions. Maybe aside from a few miscues on the size of fish, you pretty much know. But in kayak fishing, in kayak tournaments, you don't have to register that fish when you catch it, Pete. You can wait an hour. You could wait 3 hours. You could do it at the end. That is very interesting. I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah, Jody, what do you sandbag?
I do not. I do not, and I might be unique in this. I don't know. There's probably a few others that believe the same way I do. I don't care if somebody else sandbags. The reason why I feel this way is I'm going to be out there giving it 100% no matter what. So it doesn't really matter if they're holding back. It's not going to affect the way I fish at all. So it doesn't really bother me if they do. Now, some people, it tears them up. Now, I know my wife, who watches the live leaderboards at these things, it kills her because she's like, I can't believe he came in 10 minutes before the tournament was over and put in 17 or 18 more inches. I just can't believe that. But to me, it doesn't matter. And I don't watch the leaderboard. I don't pull it up on my phone because my wife watches the leaderboard and she texts me messages and says, "You're fifth. Get on it. You better get up there."
Wow.
So she's always, she's my cheerleader and my best friend, man. She keeps me going. My manager too, I guess.
What about the idea of your incorporating your fish, registering them, worrying about other guys moving in on you because you're catching them?
I mean, and it's probably worse in some situations as far as, I'm not really sure how the big boat world works, but I've seen some guys get a little bit, irritated by someone moving in on them. But in the kayak world, it's a little bit different in that, I don't know, we're kind of watching out for each other at the same time as we're out there competing against each other. It's a dangerous sport. It can be dangerous. We have lost lives in this sport. And it's, so you're kind of already kind of watching out for each other. So when somebody comes into a spot where you're at, they're usually real respectful. Hey, man, can I move down this bank? Do you care? Or where can I fish? I mean, we're very vocal to each other. And I've never, ever I've been doing this this is my third full year doing this for a living. And I've never to this day.
I'd like to elaborate on that and tell you, Pete, and everybody watching. This is the third major kayak event I've been involved in. including Hobie Worlds. And I've never seen more of a camaraderie and bond between the competitors than I do in the kayak world.
You should get on Facebook then.
It's unbelievable. Well, okay, I don't know that side of it, but from the tournament side of it. And in fact, in this tournament, Jody, I think you shared water with Christine, right?
Yes.
And yeah, and basically, she was like, "Man, you got a shot to win this. I'm out." That's really cool. You don't see that.
She's a good person.
Yeah, you don't see that a lot in the big boat tournaments.
No, we share screenshots of our fish, of our screens on our fish finders. We share baits. We share techniques. I mean, I seen it's different. It's different. I mean, I'm not saying that we're not hard at it competing when we're out on the water, but we respect each other enough to just let each other do our own thing. And you get in a kayak competition, and when you're pre-fishing and stuff like that, you're really intimate with small areas, whereas in a bass boat, you can pick up and run 30 miles. If we do that, we lose an hour, So when you're pre-fishing and fishing the tournament, a lot more about the areas, I think, than you normally would if you were fishing out of a boat. You just don't hit the high spots. You find secondary and tertiary parts that are, that produce fish too. So it's a little more intimate, I think, because like I was hitting stumps that were, I know they had to be really small because they were popping up on my side scan. I went through that flat and I set over 70 waypoints in that one area. I mean, it was 100 yards wide and 250 yards long, and I had over 70 waypoints on it, and I just kept doing a circuit on those, Wow. So I knew every stump on that flat before I got out of there.
Yeah, wow.
So
All right,
you try to catch the fish that are in your area.
I got to jump in here. So, Mike, you fished 3 kayak tournaments now?
I've been at 3 kayak tournaments as a spokesperson, watching them.
Okay.
Watching them. I've only fished 1 kayak tournament in my life, and that was the one where I beat Chad Hoover down like a mule.
Right.
Yeah.
You beat the beard off him.
Right. I beat the beard off him.
Get him, man. Get him.
Physically.
Shaky head.
No, so I've never. And I'm glad you brought that up, Brian, because it's something I want to do. It's something I want to do in 2020.
I got the chance to do it once.
All right. Yes, you did. That's right. You did fish one.
I did.
Yeah.
I did. Our buddy Charles got me to do one. I absolutely loved it. It started out rough, right?
Yeah.
I mean, just jumped right into it. I don't have much time in a kayak.
Yeah.
Almost none.
Yeah.
And borrowed one of yours. Awesome experience. Takes a little while to get used to.
Yeah.
I'm getting used to it in a tournament environment, and so there's some stress there.
Yeah.
But I got to tell you right now, I'll skip to the point. The toughest thing I think I've ever done in fishing was try to bump board an 18.5-inch smallmouth. Dude.
That's tough, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because you're
You gotta
nervous
listen to
anyway.
him,
You're
man.
shaking.
It's a smallmouth.
It's a smallmouth. You're nervous.
It's on my lap.
There's all this pressure of getting it right? Because it's the tag's got to be right.
Tag's gotta
The
be
mouth's
right.
got to be right. The tail.
tail's got to be right. The
Yeah.
tail's got to be right. You got to get your phone.
It's a lot of pressure.
With your wet, slimy hand because
Yeah.
you're just holding the smallmouth.
Yeah.
You got to hold that thing, get them not to move.
Yeah.
Get back there, take a picture.
It's a great point. Yeah.
It was brutal.
It was brutal. All right, so Jody, we need tips and hints on this then.
Yeah, man. When you're handling these fish like a lot of us guys do, and you've done it so much.
Hit them with the oar first.
Yeah, knock them out. Don't let that eye glaze over. Just get them, just get them close. No, I mean, you learn a lot about the nature of the fish, and one thing I can tell you is the calmer you are, usually the calmer the fish are going to be. So, usually when I catch a fish, I'll put them on, some fish grips, and I'll put them over the side, and they settle down a lot when they're there. And I'll get all my stuff ready. I'll make sure my board's down. I'll always wet my board because, especially if it's hot, you put a fish on a hot board, he's going to start flopping.
I didn't have the fish grip technology.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's a very key piece of information I didn't have at that point.
Yeah,
I kept them on the hook and I put them in the net while I dug my phone out of my dry storage because I'm on a kayak and if I flip, I don't want to lose my phone, so I got to take my phone out.
Yeah.
And then I got to dig the bump board out.
Yeah.
Of course, I broke the bump board almost in half.
Was that your first and last kayak tournament?
It was my
Get
first.
your catch board.
It was your first. Okay. The cormorant on the message board said it might be your first and your last.
I would fish it again.
Yeah.
I just don't want to buy a kayak. As long as I can borrow yours, I'm in.
You can borrow mine.
I'm in.
Have you ever lost them, Jody? Have you ever lost a fish? A big
I think
one?
we all have, man. I was fishing the tournament one time, and you know, I was learning that, you know, if I tilted my board and got the mouth closed and got the gravity would actually, the fish seemed to calm down, you know. So I was smallmouth. And it was about an 18 or 19 inch smallmouth. And I laid him on the board. And what happened was when he raised up the flip, his head come down on top of the fence. And when he flipped up this way, it shot my board out about 10 feet out in the water and it sank.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh,
So there's that. There's that. There's definitely a learning curve.
Yes.
But yeah, those things, you know, letting that fish settle down, tilting that board, wetting your board, you know, getting all your stuff ready while that fish is over here calming down, and then getting him up on there. And I don't know, after a while, it seems like the fish they tend to cooperate if you keep doing those steps over and over and over. I mean, smallmouth are smallmouth, man. They're going to do what they do.
Yeah, it's like anything. I think the more you do it, Pete, you know, you get in that routine and you get a system down.
You
I'm
definitely
sure.
got to get a system.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was my first time. Oh
Yeah,
my God.
all these guys at this level are pretty
Yeah.
dialed. All right, now Jody, I've been monitoring our social feeds a little bit as we've been doing this interview, and I see one coming through, and I've got to ask it. This is Ike Live. We got to ask some hard questions. The guys want to know. Basically, the question is, how do you think you guys, and when they say you guys, I'm assuming they mean the full-time kayak pros like yourself and Ron Champion, how would you guys do against full-time touring pros, top-tier pros from MLF, Bass, and FLW? It's a good question. Do you think you guys would be as successful if you were competing against the likes of Kevin Van Dam and Aaron Martins and Jacob Wheeler, those kind of guys?
Are we both in kayaks?
Both in kayaks, absolutely.
Yeah, I think we'd stack up pretty well, actually.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
a good answer. Yeah. I agree.
I mean, because for one thing, they're going to be a little bit out of their element, so that gives us one advantage. But yeah, if we were both in kayaks, yeah, I think it'd be interesting. I'd like to see that go down. I really would. And I'll tell you something else I'd like to see. I would like to see a boat tournament with kayak anglers, with maybe as a co-angler.
Wow. Jody, don't let your
Yeah, man, go head to head or have a kayak, because a lot of the kayak anglers come from the boat side. You know, you Ron Champions and, you know, Jamie Dennison. And I mean, these guys, I mean, Corey Dreyer, I mean, they love to get out on the big boats on the 200 horsepowers and run them lakes. You know, I mean, so it's not that we've never done it or don't do it. It's just that we don't do it right now.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you, I would love the opportunity. You know, I was privy to see the schedule before it was officially announced for the Hobie Series, and now with the new Bass Series being announced, there's so many opportunities. I'd really like to participate in one or two this year.
You should.
And the main thing I want, and I talked to the Hobie guys about this. I talked to AJ and Morgan and Kevin and all those guys about it. The main thing I want to be wary of, though, is I also don't want to bring a negative connotation to it, you know, in my relationship with the kayak community. Because, you know, I honestly, I've said it before and I'll say it again, I feel like I am an amateur when it comes to this form of tournament fishing. You know, I'm the rookie. I'm the newbie. I want to learn. I have a lot to learn. At the same time, I don't want to, you know, put people off, and I don't want there to be a negative connotation if I come and try it. But I would love to attempt in 2020 to fish a kayak event, you know, a tour level event.
Yeah.
You know, I'd love to do it.
I think that would be awesome to see it and get involved in it.
Yeah.
And I think it's exciting. You know, obviously it's exploding like crazy. Let me ask you this, Jody. You're doing this full time. I know the sponsors gravitate towards the MLF, Bassmasters, and, you know, well, that's all we have now. And how is sponsorship out in the kayak world?
You know, there are a lot of companies out there that are helping these anglers in small ways right now. I still think it's like a test market for a lot of them. it's getting bigger and better as time goes on. The purses are getting bigger. I mean, KBF is, and Hobie, the new Hobie series has done a lot for it. AJ McWhorter, he's another pioneer. I mean, they are taking harder looks now, and I think as time goes on, it's only going to get better. You got Torpedo, who's into the sport, and they put a lot of money toward its sponsored anglers. But Catch, DZ's jumped on board. I mean, they're really into this now, and it's getting better. I think it's just they're kind of waiting and seeing kind of thing. Right. But I think it's going to get huge, man. I really do.
Right. I agree. I mean, the growth of the kayak part of sport fishing is documented now. This isn't hearsay.
Yes.
It's the biggest part of the growth of the sport in the last, say, 5 years. And this is documented. But in the bass world, Jody, in the big boat world, we've seen where too many tournament circuits detract from the viability of the leagues. Is that the same feeling in the kayak world, or is it not that way? Because you mentioned it. You've got KBF, you've got Hobie, you've got satellite trails, you've got now the entry with BASS coming in. It almost seems like it's oversaturated. Is that the case in the kayak world, or is it the more the merrier still?
Well, at this point, it's kind of like the more the merrier. I mean, we're fortunate right now in that, this sport is actually still in its infancy. I mean, it's still got avenues to take and areas to go that we haven't even explored yet. So, at this point, I think we're okay. I don't think it's really saturated that much. Right now, a person you can only get so many tournaments in a year. So, if you have, 3 or 4 or 5 trails out there, you're not going to fish every one of them. So there's going to be something for everybody out there. And a lot of these organizations have, like the KBF, they have a trail series that's for a lot of people. They'll just fish the challenge series and stuff like that for, $25, $30 a month. You can go out and do it on your own time and do a monthly series and stuff like that. So there's these ones that are offering something for everyone. They're going to be around for a while, and it gives them a chance to get out and compete and see whether or not they want to step up to the bigger, the pro series tournaments. Right. The BOS tournaments by Hobie, the BASS tournaments, those are $200, $250, entry fees, and it'll let them know so they can test their mettle a little bit before they jump into it. But there's always going to be something around for the people who don't want to go into it hard.
Yeah. Well, I am, Pete, I'm thoroughly impressed with this, with kayak fishing in general, but tournament kayak fishing, what I've seen the last few years, what I've seen. And Jody, I mentioned this, I got a chance to speak at this event, and I mentioned it at the event. Growing the sport, we're so conscious of it, and that's thrown around all the time. You guys are doing more to grow the sport than anybody else I can think of, really physically growing it. I can see it with my own eyes. And for that, I want to thank you guys, man. And you, Jody, thank you for what you're doing to grow the sport. You're getting more people involved in it, and that's what we need. That's what we need.
I think we have a responsibility to do that. It's only going to help us in the long run, and get more people and our kids and our veterans that are looking for something that keeps our kids off the streets a lot of times, and it gives the veterans who with PTSD and stuff like that, organizations like Heroes on the Water, and it's a big thing for them to be able to get out and do, and it's not hard to do, it's so relaxing. But when you get up to in the competitive part, it's different, but entry level, it's easy to get into. So it's a good thing. And I think we have a responsibility to represent the sport well and grow the sport.
Well, that hats off to you guys for doing that. And Jody, I can't thank you enough for coming on the show.
Man, I'm honored, dude. I appreciate it. Thank you.
It's awesome to have you on, talk a little bit about it, and talk about your win. Jody, before we let you go, do you want to shout out any of your sponsors? You want to let people know how can they follow you? How can they follow you through your escapades in next season? Yeah, man. You can follow me on Facebook, Jody Queen Pro Angler. You can follow me on Instagram. It's Jody Queen 8635. I have Jody Queen on
the YouTube. You can follow me there. My content's getting better and better, so don't get mad at me when you go on there. It's going to get better. I'm just on the road so much; it's hard for me to do it. But yeah, Bonafide Kayaks, man. Luther Cyphers, the brain behind it, man. He's a great guy and just always coming up with something new, innovative, man. I just love him to death. Thank you, Luther, and Steve Turkla, Jeff Little from Torquedo, man. You guys rock.
Jeff Little's awesome,
man, yeah, Torquedo is great. Fishing online, anything that I have that's on my boat that has anything to do with fishing, all my baits, all my rods, my reels, they come from fishing online. Jeff and Brianne Harley has been real good to me. Land Cruiser Restorations, I know that's kind of a weird one, but they're located in Kansas. Man, they put out the best restored Land Cruisers you ever seen, all the way back from when they first started making them. Yak Attack, of course, everybody knows Yak Attack in the kayak world. I mean, if it snaps or holds something or illuminates something, or I mean, it's Yak Attack in my kayak anyway. So I mean, I got to give those guys kudos. They helped me out a lot, and that's about it, I guess.
Well,
that's all.
That's all.
That's all.
Well, Jody, I can't.
Hey, I'm not Mike Iaconelli, man.
You were sounding pretty close.
Jody, I can't thank you enough for coming on, and I really hope we get to run into each other coming up. Maybe even in a tournament. Who knows?
Hey, I told you my alligator story on Okeechobee, right?
Oh yeah, yep.
All right. Next time I see you, I'll tell you my snake story getting bit by a copperhead.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't want to. I don't want that to ever happen.
Next
to me.
time on Ike Live.
All right, that's one for the books right there. Jody Queen, everybody. Thank you, Jody.
Thanks, man.
It's awesome, man. I honestly, I wouldn't just saying that because he was on here and Hobie's probably listening or whatever, but it is a big growing segment, and you gotta pay attention to it. You know what I mean? I don't like the snob, the high, highfalutin guys that look down on other forms of fishing. I
agree with that.
They look down at the tiny boats. They look down at the kayak guys. They look down at the bank guys, because dude, that's the grassroots. That's the crust of it.
Above all is fishing.
It's fishing.
And I think
what does it
sometimes
matter?
bass fishermen get carried away with bass fishing, and they get carried away with tournaments.
And big boats and
big boats.
250s
Above all,
and
it's
300s and
I don't think your mic's working.
Oh my God.
yeah, it's working.
Is it?
It's working. Yeah.
Pete, it's you.
I'm just messing with you.
Because you wanted to talk trash on kayakers for being in your way.
We love it. My favorite thing about it is the transition it gives kids.
Yeah.
Right? Coming out of college. Maybe they were on the college fishing team, right? They're coming out. They got their new job. They got $100,000 in debt. It gives them a place to go. They can get into a kayak. Everybody can get into a kayak.
Yeah.
The small boat tournaments.
I'm excited for this Slay Nation thing. I'm going to fish that trail this year. Mike, I'll show you the schedule after when we go to break here.
I like it.
But they fish all the way from Malaga to Merrill Creek.
Wow.
Yeah. All up in
One-day events?
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. And like I said, it's all inclusive. So.
Is there a limit? Can I get involved, or is there?
Yeah, you can get
Man,
involved.
I might like to do
Come
one of
out
those
and-
as well
come
next
out
year.
and take your medicine.
Supplemental income.
Take your medicine.
Take my medicine.
You got a nice boat build going on.
I have a
down there.
boat build going on. Yeah, we'll save a little bit of that, I think, for our next show, which we're going to be talking about it. But
Yes.
we do have one. It's going to be hard to follow up the Ike Live boat build. I'm
Good.
serious. Like,
Good luck.
every bell and whistle you could imagine, every little trick in that boat. But so to counter that, I'm going the opposite way.
No, you ain't.
No, I am. I'm going slightly more minimalistic. I purposely went and got a actual tiny boat. So Brian the Carpenter's build, he says it's a tiny boat, but it's like a 16 or 17 footer.
It's a 16-foot.
How tiny
tracker.
is that? I'm actually getting like a 12, like 12 and a half or 12 and 3/4 done. So
Yeah, but it's like 12 foot wide.
well, it's 12 foot wide. That's true.
Yeah.
But it is
Nah,
an actual
9'9",
tiny boat.
right?
You
9'9".
You
Yeah.
started out minimalistic, but then you guys
It
started
grew.
getting carried
We all
away.
did.
grew a little
Everybody
bit.
started out minimalistic.
Yeah.
I
Started
mean,
getting
I think
carried away.
everybody in this room probably your first boat was under 10 feet, right?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know? I mean,
Call
Yeah.
the crawdads.
I
Mine
just
was
think
8.
Mike's idea of minimal is probably like going from a 16-inch screen down to a 12.
Yeah.
Sonar.
No, Pete. There's actually two 12s.
I've
on
got
this
two
boat.
12s on this
Yeah,
boat.
2 12s on the boat. Yeah, minimalistic.
I do have two
Outta
12s on
here.
this boat.
Out
Yeah.
of your mind.
All right, whatever. All right.
Union Lake.
Union
Here
Lake.
we come.
Here we come. That's going to be a good show. I can't wait for our Tiny Boat show.
Let's take a break.
You want to take a break? You want to do the unboxing? You want to take a break? We'll do the unboxing when we come back.
Yes.
Let's do that. Okay. Listen, hang in there. We're only halfway through, Mr. Pete. If you're watching tonight, we just talked to Jody Queen, but we've got a lot of great stuff coming. The one and only Scott Martin joining us in the next segment. We're going to be talking about him fishing the Bass Opens, leaving FLW. He's built his career around that circuit. We'll be talking about that. Also going to be talking about a lot what Scott's done to grow the sport through digital content. He's a freaking genius when it comes to that.
500,000 subscribers.
500,000 subscribers. And when we get back, we're also going to be doing a MTB unboxing. And this is one of the only podcasts that does it live. So it's going to be good. Hang in there with us. When we come back, more Ike Live.
Like, you good, man? You know we're doing a video right now, right? I'm about to go down there and tackle that dude. Hey! Hey there, official world. What's shaking, Fat Cat Newton coming at you. Listen, let's talk about something very important. And I'm not talking about Jack and Jaws Ripping Lips 2455 and Big Belly Kelly out of a brush pile. I found Primal Urge Foods. Ladies and gentlemen, what Primal Urge Foods is, it is a monthly meat stick box. Every month you get a box of meat sticks to your door. Retail is probably, I don't know, $30, $40, $14.95 a month. Now you can pick many different varieties. You can pick a surprise box. You get a little bit of this, you get a little bit of that. You get some 24.55 and 5 No, we don't like antibiotics. No antibiotics. And these right here, completely eagle free. Now the gas stations meat sticks you buy probably have eagle in them, they have rhinoceros in them, but we are Americans. America! We're not eating bald eagles in our meat sticks. Guaranteed none of these meat sticks have bald eagle in them. That's the #1 reason to buy these meat sticks. You want to get granddaddy a gift? Hey, you're dating a girl. Ooh, she fine as muscadine wine. And you want to warm up her hair, I'm getting excited talking about women. I forget what it's. Primal Urge, $14.95 a month. Monthly meat box subscription. It could be called a bombs box of meat sticks. You just do like I do, and every month the box shows up, and I don't know what's going to be in it, but they're all delicious. The meat right there. I tell you what, that's something good right there. It's girthy. It's Fat Cat Newton, Primal Urge Foods. Please, Ike Live is the code, guys. Ike Live. Ike Live is the code. Okay. Primal Urge Foods. Ike Live is a code. It gets you $5 off a box, okay?
Hey everybody, Mike Iaconelli here. I love fishing this time of the year. It's cold, it's winter, it's snowing, but if you want to prevent the buildup of ice, use Real Snot. Every time I'm fishing this time of the year, I put a couple squirts on all my guides, especially the tip, before I start casting. Try that tip when you're fishing under these cold conditions, and you're going to catch more fish. See you later.
There's a special place in our hearts for the tools of the trade. They're what we prep for a good day on the water. They're what we clean after a good day in the field. Flambeau's patented Z-Rust technology protects the gear of today from rust and corrosion. Z-Rust, for the performance of tomorrow. Preserve, perform, repeat.
You work hard to catch your fish. TH Marine has 2 products to ensure your fish survive. The Oxygenator injects 100% pure oxygen into your live well. That increases fish survival by 35%. For the perfect combo, add G-Juice Live Well treatment. It calms fish, stops bleeding, removes ammonia, and replaces slime coat. Get an Oxygenator and G-Juice and keep your fish alive.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Ike Live. I hope you're having a wonderful Monday night. I know we are. You're watching a brand new episode tonight. We just talked to Jody Queen, a professional kayak tournament angler. Great insight onto that world, Pete. You know, such a cool part of the sport of professional fishing is the kayak part, and it's growing. It's crazy growing. And in a second here, we're about to get Scott Martin on the phone. I'm excited. First time on the show, and a lot of big things happening with Scott right now. So it's going to be good catching up with him, find out what's going on with Mr. Scott.
Absolutely, yeah. He's huge. Like you said, YouTube, he is really crushed it over there.
Crushed it.
Amazing. And, of course, he's one of the most decorated FLW anglers in the history of the FLW.
I think has won everything you could win on that side.
8 tournaments.
It's amazing.
At the championship and an Angler of the Year title.
It's unbelievable. It's crazy. I mean, it's every time you turn on FLW, he's in the mix. You know, he's one of those kind of anglers. So it's going to be awesome getting Scott on here in a second. And I can tell you this, before we get Scott on, I'm feeling a little hungry, Pete. Yeah. Might have to open up the Primal Urge here.
Man, we could use some Primal Urge down there in North Carolina, Riz.
You guys hungry down there?
Man, we were starving. We didn't properly prepare for boat food down there because we're all flying in. We didn't get ourselves together. I'm like, man, we need Primal.
I gotta definitely eat one of these while we're doing this.
Hey
next
guys,
one.
while we're digging into this pack of Primal here,
I found something
just
I like.
want to remind everybody over on the Facebook side of things, Facebook, like and share, like our feed, share our feed. We'll enter you into a chance to win an awesome Ike Live gift bag. So Facebook, like and share.
Yeah, and also let me remind everybody, if you've got a question, comment for anything you heard with Jody, or especially with Scott coming up, if you've got a question or a comment that comes up as we're talking to Scott, please, I am it through. We're going to pick a couple at the end, Bri, that are good ones. We might send them something.
Yeah, and we're going to do a little contest while we have Scott on. We've got a contest that's going to be on the website for a 3-month subscription to Mystery Tackle Box.
Wow.
Little trivia.
Nice.
Well, trivia.
All right, Mike, I'm going to dial up Scott.
All right, we're going to dial Scott up right now.
Fire me up, bro.
We're going to dial him up.
Yep. Anyone?
Pass some of that meat sticks over to Brian and Riz. Man, you know what? Every time I open that, Brian, every time I open the Primal Urge box, it's hard to pick one because they all very awesome. I'm doing, by the way, right now I'm doing the, this is the Snetter Farms fully cooked barbecue uncured is what I'm having right now. It's really, really good. It goes good with this beer. Anyway, it goes really good with this beer. Pretty good, pretty damn good. I know. All right, let's get this going. I know. This is the last time I'm chewing the mic. I'm trying to get it all out right now.
We have a big announcement.
We do have a big announcement?
While you're chewing, maybe I can give that announcement.
Well, go ahead and give it real quick.
Over at the Bass University, of course, we were down at the Cash and Rods factory, and just released are the Bass University Cash and Fishing Rods.
Wow.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we're really excited about it.
Are they available to the general public? Or?
They're available right now at cashandrods.com.
Okay.
It's soon to be available in Tackle Warehouse. They are, of course, they're branded in Bass University colors, which is really cool, and we love that. But the main thing that we love about it is one of the questions that we get from people at every one of our classes is, if I had just one rod, to pick, what do you recommend?
Yeah.
And what we created were one spinning rod that's medium action, 7 foot.
Versatile, does it all.
One bait caster, medium heavy, 7 foot. They're all-purpose rods.
Yeah.
They can do everything.
Wow.
And we're really excited. People have already gotten pre-orders and using them and really loving the rods.
That's awesome.
And they're just going to allow a guy that can just buy a couple rods to get out there and do everything. So check that out, the Bass University rods at cashandfishingrods.com. Riz has got a couple.
Wow.
Yes.
Riz likes them.
You ready?
Okay, I'm ready. I'm excited. I know everybody watching and listening tonight, you've been waiting for this part of the show. Me too. And I'm so excited to have this guy on the show. He's a good friend of mine since I started in the sport over 20 years ago. First time on Ike Live, Pete. Very excited to get him on to talk about. Yeah, it's the first time. I can't believe it took this long to get him on. I blame Brian the Carpenter for that. But here he goes, the one and only Mr. Scott Martin on Ike Live tonight.
What's going on, fellas? What's going on?
How you doing tonight, Scott?
I'm doing good, man. I'm in the Keys. I'm actually enjoying my evening here. We're going to do a little shark fishing tomorrow with my daughter Hillary, and it's all's good, man. We're just doing a little family vacay.
Wow. Now Florida Keys is also one of my favorite places in the world. Now I just want to. This isn't even on the script. I want to hit you with this right away. Is it hard to separate business from pleasure? And I'm asking this question for personal experience because I go to the Keys. We try to do it every year to get away, and I find it hard to separate business with pleasure. Like I'm filming these Going Ike Rawls when I'm supposed to be just having a good time with my wife. Do you have that same problem?
I do. Because every time, look, when we don't take the camera with us, it's like the most epic day. Crazy stuff happens. The biggest fish bite.
Yeah.
And you go, I can't believe we didn't film that. So now, everywhere we go, we film everything because you just never know. You just never know. But yeah, so yeah, we enjoy it. You know, for me, saltwater fishing, there's 2 or 3 things I love. And number one, I love it because I'm like a student. Okay, even though I've grown up saltwater fishing my whole life, I'm still learning a lot like the average guy would learn how to bass fish. You know, I'm learning new techniques, I'm learning lures, I'm learning new species, and I love that part of it. And the second thing is, it's kind of like my my getaway.
Yeah.
You know, and I just love it. It allows me to kind of reset, have some fun, you know, and it's a ball. I love it.
I'm right there with you. I think, you know, a lot of guys, a lot of anglers have their other vice, and it's most of the time hunting. It's, you know, sometimes some other stuff. But for me, like you, my vice is fun fishing, and it's getting outside of my element, especially saltwater fishing. How much influence did guys that you watched, you know, Shaw Grigsby, you know, the early pioneers, and your dad especially, how much influence did they have on you, not just becoming a pro angler, but doing all this other stuff, loving saltwater fishing? How much influence was that for you?
Huge. Yeah, huge. You know, my dad especially, you know, because, I mean, I've made this comment before to people, and a lot of people might not know this that are listening to your show today, but like my dad never sits around and watches TV. Like I've never known my dad to come in early from a day of fishing and watch football or watch a TV program. Like he's always fishing. He's, whether it's freshwater, saltwater, he's always tinkering with tackle.
Yeah.
I mean, you've been around him, Mike. He's totally geeked out. He's like a little kid all the time. And so growing up, you know, I'm sitting right here, right where I'm at, this house in the Keys, right here at this table. I wish I had a fly. I would have grabbed it. But I tied flies, like literally right here with a little fly kit. I tied flies right here that my dad taught me how to tie them. And we went out and caught 50-pound tarpon.
That's unreal.
You know, and so, you know, I like hunting. I don't love hunting, right?
Yeah.
You know, like I go on a hunting trip with anybody when they call. And I love bird hunting. I do actually love bird hunting, but I love fishing. Like fishing's my thing, you know, like, and it's like you. I don't know when deer season opens, but I know that the fishing's open 24/7, especially here in Florida.
Yeah, I'm addicted to it. I mentioned this earlier in the show, Scott, but it's so awesome that I've got my 2006 Bass AOY trophy sitting right behind us. And for a set of years there, including my trophy, it is the Roland Martin trophy. So I've got your dad's name attached to it. Really cool. Honestly, it's such a cool thing. But I want to switch it up a little bit. You know, your dad for sure, pioneer of the sport, obviously. Man, what an amazing job he's done to change the sport. But I want to throw it back at you, and you have done the same in your own right. And I want to talk to you about that. I hear all the time, you know, about how to grow the sport, how to change it, you know, how to get the next generation involved. You've done an outstanding job of that, not just through tournament fishing, but through these other outlets. Talk a little bit about that, because we've got a lot of people watching that are saying, man, how do I help? How do I grow my brand? How do I reach new people? You've done a great job at it.
I appreciate it, Mike, very much.
Talk a little bit about that, because you have gravitated toward the new ways to disseminate information better than any other angler I know, including social media, YouTube, TV. You've done such a good job at it.
I appreciate that.
How did all that happen?
Well, you know, for me, you know, growing up with Dad, doing TV for all those years, and you know, watching him, how he did the TV shows and how he dealt with contracts and how he dealt with sponsors and how he dealt with everything, I was very intrigued by that. And I was always, as much as I love fishing, I love producing content. And so when I started fishing, I wanted to do things my own way. And so I didn't want to go down that road of necessarily people saying, hey, you know, you're riding your dad's coattails. So I tried at an early age. I said, you know, I'm going to do everything on my own. So that's really one of the reasons, and there's lots of them. That's one of the reasons I stuck with FLW as long as I did. You know, my dad fished Bassmaster for all those years and had a great career, and I wanted to kind of separate myself and do my own thing.
Yeah.
And so I stayed on the FLW tour and fished over there. When I started the TV show 15 years ago, it was a totally different format than your traditional TV, the two guys in a boat just doing a fishing show. It was a competition format, which is at the time nobody had done that. And so I really wanted to always kind of stay kind of one step ahead of what the next big thing is. And then, of course, with Facebook coming along and Instagram and YouTube, I saw that as an opportunity to really connect with the next generation. And I was very fortunate to get ahead of the curve on that, you know, a couple of years ago, 3 or 4 years ago, really, and really tap into that. And really, I did it. I did the YouTube more at the time, more because I just love creating content. You know, I love just fishing, and we do so many. Like I said, I don't hunt a lot, so I fish so much that so many times I'm telling stories at a dinner table about this crazy thing that happened on the water, and people are like amazed. And I'm like, you know, we need to start capturing these days on the water. And that's how the YouTube thing started. But then I quickly saw how the next generation really gravitated to that, and it really started getting in so many more people involved in the sport. You know, when I look back at comments that people have sent me on Instagram or even on YouTube, and his dad saying, "Thank you very much for doing." And I'm sure you get the same comments, Mike. Thank you so much for doing what you're doing, because now I'm able to spend time with my son fishing because he loves watching your shows and he's gotten into fishing. Now I'm spending the weekends with my family fishing, or a little girl, cool. You know, and so these are people, or you've heard this too, where the guy says, "I haven't fished in 20 years, but after watching your YouTube videos, it looks so much fun that I started fishing again. So thank you very much. You know, I'm starting to fish all the time now, and it's really helped me in every aspect of my life." Yeah. And when I saw those comments coming in, and I saw such a great opportunity to expand the sport, you know, I mean, instead of taking our set amount of anglers that we have in this sport, we need to add to that. Yeah. And that's what really excites me. I know that's been a big part of what you're doing as well.
Yeah, it's so awesome. And I've watched you do it. I've watched from afar. You do such a good job with it, and it's so awesome to see kids, especially. I love those, you know, 7 to 15-year-olds that would normally never, ever, ever want to go pick up a rod or touch a rod. I've seen the influence, you know, you guys have had, and you know, I'll be honest, you know, in the professional fishing world, YouTubers have a negative connotation, you know, and the Googans and some guys that don't have the criteria and the resume they get a negative connotation. I've always fought that, you know. I've always fought it because I think what those guys are doing, what you are doing, is how we get kids involved nowadays. Things have changed. It's the way you've got to do it, and hats off to you guys for doing that.
Well,
it's amazing.
Yeah, all the guys everybody on YouTube is playing a big part of that. You know, no matter how big your channel is, you're influencing the next generation. And here's what it is: if you think back of all the movies you've watched, you know, movies from California, like, you know, box office type movies, fishing is always portrayed as two guys sitting in a boat with a 6-pack of beer and a bobber, right? And so as kids that have no idea about fishing, right, they see it in TV shows of people holding the spinning reel upside down, right? Everything's all goofy. You know what I'm saying? And they look like, you know, fishing's kind of goofy. Yeah. But when they watch YouTube and they watch yourself or me or these other guys fishing, and it's fun and it's challenging and it's exciting, they go, whoa, this fishing is cool. So that's really where the YouTube and the digital platforms that we're all participating on has helped change the view of what fishing really is.
Yeah. Yeah, and I love it. I love it. I think it's great. I can tell you there's been a bunch of situations in the last few years, Pete, where I'd be out there fishing or I'd be at a sports show and guys would come up and say, "Oh man, that's Monster Mike. That's Monster Mike over there," you know? And they'd bypass me totally to run to Monster Mike for an autograph. Or I'd be at a fishing show and they'd come up to me and say, hey, aren't you the guy that fished with one rod, one reel? And I'm like, yeah, I'm the guy that's fished with Mike. I love it. I think it's great, you know?
One of the best responses that I've got and my dad makes a joke about it all the time. You know, for years growing up, everybody said, "Oh, this is Scott. This is Roland Martin's son," and I would always roll my eyes, like, "Okay, when am I going to get past? I'm Roland Martin's son." And so now in the last 5 or 6 years, where me and my dad will be hanging out, and people will come up to my dad and go, "Hey, you're Scott Martin's dad, aren't you? You're the Martin pops."
Wow.
You know, it's all gone full circle for sure. So
now how does your dad, does he appreciate that? Does it piss him off?
No, he likes it. He likes it. Yeah. He chuckles every time, and he's doing YouTube. And he's having a ball. It's kind of revitalized his career in a way too, because he loves to produce content and loves to teach and loves to talk about fishing to the fans.
Yeah.
And so now this has created another outlet for him to be able to reconnect with the next generation as well. So he's growing like crazy, which is great. I think it's going to add another 10 or 15 years to his career.
That's awesome.
He's going to be like 100 years old, dude, doing YouTube. I'm serious.
That is awesome. I hope it happens. Now, you've been on the forefront of a lot of things. You've sort of predicted things that were going to happen. You mentioned it earlier. Let me call you to plate on this one. What's the next big thing? What's the next big thing in reaching people through fishing?
You know, I think there's going to be some other platforms that open up. You know, there's the Disneys of the world that are getting into digital media. There's other regular cables, you know, the CBSs and the NBCs and all that are going to start really focusing more on digital content with your phones. And so, you know, people have always told me that, you know, hey, TV's going away. TV's going away. And to a degree, TV's flat, right? TV numbers are flat. But it's not necessarily that TV is going to go away. It's the way that you watch TV that's going to go away.
Right.
People sitting in their living room watching their 70-inch flat screen is getting less and less. But everybody's pulling their phones out. So now it's going to turn into where you turn this phone on, and right now we have YouTube as one platform, and that's really the only platform we all look at. But here in the next year or two, it's going to be a lot more choices. It's going to be the Disneys of the world. It's going to be the mainstream cable networks on your phone.
Yeah.
And so that's really going to, I think, divide up the viewers a little bit. I think people are going to have to start paying attention to how to kind of integrate into that market.
Gotcha. It's amazing. It's hard to stay on top of, I can tell you that.
What I love about it is, you know, in the old days, you'd have shows.
The olden days.
Yeah, the old days.
The good old days, back in
the
when the original
1800s.
Woodstock concert that you were at.
I was there.
Yeah.
But the, you know, they would select a program, they do test marketing and do all this other stuff, and then they send it out there, and you'd see, and people would be forced to watch the content that was available.
Yeah.
I think right now it's really cool that the viewer gets to
find
choose
what they want to find.
They get to choose who they like to watch.
Yeah.
They get to choose who, you know, it's not a network telling them.
Yeah.
You know, it's a viewer saying, hey, 500,000 viewers want to sign up to Scott Martin or, you know, Scott Martin's YouTube channel.
Right.
You know, say, hey, we love to watch this guy. You know?
It's awesome.
I think it's great that
put
it's
it in the hands of the viewers and take it away from the networks, which is ultimately a good thing. Let me remind everybody watching right now, we're talking to Scott Martin. If you've got a question or a comment, please hit us up on the IM. Mr. Riz will put it through. I want to change gears, Scott, and talk about tournament fishing a little bit.
Sure.
When we were on the break, Pete and I were looking at our notes, and it's unbelievable the stats that you have in tournament fishing across the board in a lot of circuits, but especially FLW, the domination you've had in FLW. And I joke with Pete that it was hard to tune in on FLW live or a TV show without seeing you as part of the show. It seemed like you were always in the hunt in every one of them. What an amazing career in that circuit. And then, you know, a pretty significant announcement from you. And I know you've talked to other podcasts and radio shows in the last week about it. But this is a big deal. This is a big deal for you right now. What's gone through your mind? Because I know how big it is to make a life change. I went through one myself a year ago. I was in the same shoes you were in. And I know how much anxiety. I can tell you, and Pete, if you remember Brian the Carpenter, I was a wreck. I was a fucking wreck for months because of the anxiety of the decision, the anxiety of switching, the anxiety of change. You know, it was eating me up, dude. I was a wreck.
Oh, I know. It's that's the last 2 years have been the most stressful. I feel like it's taken 10 years off my life, and I know it has you too. And because of all these decisions, because they're tough, and it's you here, and I know this happened to you. You talk to your good buddies, you make one phone call, and you talk to 3 or 4 of your buddies, and all of a sudden your mind changes. You're like, all right, I'm doing this, and then you make another 2 phone calls. You talk to another buddy, and you're like, no. All right, now I'm going to go do this other thing, and it's just back and forth the whole time, and you don't know what to do. And so for me, I spent 20 years on the FLW Tour. They provided me a wonderful platform. I love competing over there. I had a lot of great friends over there, but I'm goal oriented, and that's my dad was goal oriented. He had a lot of success on the Bassmaster Tour, and I think a lot of that winning 9 Angler of the Years. I mean, he had goals every year to try to pull something off special. And I know you're the same way. I mean, that's how to succeed. That's how you have to succeed in the sport. Is you have to have passion. You have that. I have that. You have to have a goal in mind. You have to plan things out ahead of time on what you want to try to accomplish.
Yeah.
You can't be one of those guys and say, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe I won a tournament this year. I didn't even know that was going to happen." Like, that's not ever part of the equation. It's like you know that I'm going to win a tournament this year, and you put yourself in position every single event to try to pull that off. And it doesn't happen all the time, obviously, but you're fighting for it. And so FLW provided me a great platform to be successful all these years. And I accomplished everything that I wanted to accomplish over there, from all the titles and different things. But, growing up in the sport, growing up around Bassmaster, all the years that I went to the tournaments and watched my dad walk across the stage with Ray Scott up on the stage in his big cowboy hat, and Dewey Kendrick. I don't know if you remember Dewey Kendrick.
Yeah.
Dewey Kendrick and all the guys. And I used to run around selling my dad's sunglasses in little cardboard boxes at like 10 years old, the little Roland Martin sunglasses, which they're actually pretty cool. I'm thinking about bringing them back because I think they could actually do pretty well right now. But I would go to all these events and in my heart and in my heart, deep in my heart, I knew that I needed to fish on the Elite Series. I needed to get over to the bass side, and I just wanted to finish a few things off. And now with all the changes going on in the sport, it's really pretty clear to me now for me to go over and spend the rest of my career on the Bassmaster Tour and try to make it to the elites. I mean, that's a hard thing to do. I mean, I don't say this lightly. Everybody keeps saying, "Oh, you're going to qualify, no problem." I'm like, dude, you have no idea. This is not an easy route that I'm taking.
Yeah.
But it's a challenging route, and I'm passionate about it. I told a story, and I don't know if you got to see this in my video, and it's pretty neat, and I'll share it with your viewers if they didn't get to see it. But when I was born, I laid on my mom's chest, infant, in the hospital, and the doctor came out and told my dad that, "Hey, Roland, you've got a baby boy," and so they didn't have a name picked out at the time. And so my dad was out in the hallway, and he got on the payphone and called Ray Scott and told Ray, I've got a baby boy. I'm so excited. And Ray said, "Oh, that's awesome. What are you going to name him?" And my dad said, "Well, we haven't quite figured out a name yet. We're kicking around a couple, but we don't know yet." And Ray's always selling something, right? He's working angle. And Ray says, "Roland, I'll tell you what, if you name him after me, I'll give him a lifetime membership to Bassmaster." And my dad said, Well, that's a pretty good deal. Well, all right, Ray, I'll go talk to Marianne. We'll see what happens. So my mom's laying there with me on her chest, and my dad comes in and says, Hey, Marianne, if I just got off the phone with Ray. Ray said if we name him after him, we get a lifetime membership." My mom says, "I can't do Ray. I don't. He's not a Ray. I'm looking at. He doesn't look like a Ray. I like Ray, but I can't name him Ray." And so my dad said, "Well, how about Scott, like Ray Scott?" And my mom said, "Well, I kind of like that name, actually. That actually might work." So right then and there, I was named Scott after Ray Scott, and I got a lifetime membership, like a day old.
That's crazy.
And so, that's always been part of me, and I wanted to put forth the effort and try to kind of finish some unfinished family business over there. My dad spent all those years, the Classic eluded him. You classic, you know how special that is. And if I can pull that off while he's still here, I mean, I'm going to be a happy man the rest of my life. And that's what it is. Here's how I had to do it, though, Mike. And you know, you talk about losing sleep and all the different things to decide on. For me, I took the money out of the equation, right? I said how much money I can win on this tour or how much money I can win on that tour. I'm taking that out of the equation, and I'm doing this purely based on my passion. And that's where I'm at, Bassmaster 2020.
Yeah. Wow. That's awesome. And what a cool story. You know, it's almost like as you were talking, I was seeing like this diagram, PowerPoint diagram pop up in my mind, and it was like coming full circle. You know what I mean? I was seeing like the arrows in the diagram just like coming full circle for you. That's crazy. That's such a cool story. Now I got to ask you a few of these other questions, and you know, these are questions that come up. Obviously, there's other things that went into this decision-making process. You know, you've mentioned a lot of them, you know, unfinished business. You know, it sounds like you started thinking about this years ago before this MLF thing even popped up. How much of this decision was influenced directly by your dad? I mean, obviously, I mean, when I made my decision, I talked to my mom and uncle about it. I talked to my good friends about it. I mean, did you sit down with your dad and just say, Dad, what do I need to do here? What should I do?
Yeah, you know, I didn't sit down and talk to him like that. I did mention to him after I had made my mind up and I wanted to go down that road. I told him that's what I wanted to do, and he fully supported it. But I never did sit down with him and have him steer me in a direction.
Right.
I solely depended on those decisions between me and my wife and my kids.
Yeah.
And again, the passion. And you know, the one good thing is that we've been dealing with this changing of the guard and the different tours for now 2 years.
Yeah.
And so I had to, you know, go through a lot of those emotions last year, trying to figure out what might be the best route. And then again this year. So I've had a lot of time to think about it.
Yeah.
And I just keep coming back to that burning desire of trying to pull something off special. And I don't want to have regrets. When I retire, whether it's 10 or 15 or 20 years from now, I don't want to have regrets where I said, man, I never did fish the Elite Tour. I never did try to win. I'm in my prime right now.
Yeah.
And I want to go out and I want to just give it all I got and try to pull off something pretty special.
Yeah. Now let me ask you this, and I don't know the answer to this. Were you extended an invite by Major League Fishing in 2019?
I was.
Okay.
Yeah. I was. Yeah. Boyd. They extended an invite to me after I did my video a few weeks, maybe even a month.
Yeah.
It's kind of late in the season, and you know, and I was greatly appreciative of it. I'm glad that they thought highly enough of me to invite me over there. Just again, I'm loyal, you know, and you have to be in this industry, you know, and you're the same way. You've been with the same group of sponsors for all these years, and you know, you have to stay loyal. And I was loyal to FLW, and I just wanted to, you know, put forth everything that I could, you know, last year with them. And you know, things change now, and we're where we're at now.
Yeah. Now I do got to ask you this too, because fishing, you know, fishing's a passion. I know you have it. I have it. Pete's got. We all have it here in this room tonight, and that has to fuel your fire for everything you do.
Yes.
But at some decision, and you know this better than anybody because I've watched the other half of your fishing, which is your business side. I've watched how you flourished over the years, and at some point, it also has to become a business decision, right? It has to become a business decision. It has to factor into what you decide. And so here's the question. You know, right now you're signing up to fish opens to hypothetically qualify to the highest level of tournament. That's a big undertaking. Even for a guy like you that can win continually, that's a big undertaking.
Huge.
If a big announcement was made tomorrow, and I'm not saying it will be made, but if they might make a big announcement tomorrow that said a few guys are leaving MLF and they need to fill a few spots, and your phone rang tomorrow, which it might, and it was somebody from MLF saying, Scott, we need you here. We need you here. We need your brand. We need your presence. We need your following. We need you at MLF. And it was the right business decision. Forget about passion. Forget about your dad's legacy. If that call came to you tomorrow from Major League Fishing, would you consider saying yes?
No, my mind's made up. My mind's made up 100%. I'm good. I'm good with my decision. Business for me. Here's business for me. Business for me isn't how much money I can win in a Major League Fishing event. Business for me isn't how much money I can win in a Bass Open or an elite tournament. Business for me is how can I. This is real important. This is how I have been able to kind of keep the train on the tracks over these years with TV and everything else that we do.
Yeah.
How can I have enough time and enough energy and enough passion to equally give my family time?
Yeah.
My kids time. We got lots of cool things going on with my kids right now, and on top of that, the filming that we do for TV shows and filming for the fan base with all the YouTube stuff. It's a fine balance there.
Tough balance.
And if you get too overloaded,
yeah,
right? Fishing too many tournaments and traveling and burning it at both ends, then those other things are going to suffer.
Yeah.
And you know as well as I do, to be successful in today's world, you need to be well-rounded. And so that's my business decision is how do I have enough time, right, to successfully manage all those other aspects of my business.
Yeah.
Because when I can manage all of those perfectly, then I'm insulated from change in the industry and the economy. I got lots of different things that I'm safe with, and that's important. So that's job security, not how much money I can win at a tournament, because you know as well as I do, the tournaments that you've won, the money that you've put in the bank from winning a tournament, that stuff's long gone.
Yeah.
It's long gone.
Yeah.
It's a one-hit deal. You know, it's great for a couple of years, and it's gone.
Yeah.
You've spent on other things. You've invested in your family, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
But you have to be well-rounded. And so for me, my business is not how much money I can win. It's how can I keep focused on all these other aspects of what I do.
Yeah, it's a tough balance. And hey, at the end of the day, the number one thing in your decision making should be your own happiness, right? Should be what makes you happy and not anything else. Let's go to the IMs real quick. Riz, I know I'm super backed up because I couldn't stop talking, but what do we got coming through for Scott?
Wild Bill would like to know, Scott, have you considered your options and maybe wished you made this switch a year sooner?
You know, I thought about that. I actually thought about that a couple days ago. I was sitting there and I kind of had this little epiphany, I guess, in my head, just to myself. I was sitting in my office and I thought, you know, last year I kind of did my commitment to FLW a little early. And I heard through the grapevine that Bass was maybe going to invite me at the time, but once I made my announcement, they kind of said, well, let's take him off the list. He's going to fish FLW. And I kind of heard through the grapevine that Major League kind of thought the same thing. And so I kind of positioned myself pretty early that I was going to fish FLW. And so, you know, I was very comfortable with my decision, obviously, but the whole time thinking, like, did I mess up by committing too early? Like, should I have left my options open a little longer? And now that it's come full circle now, and I just did my video a couple days ago in regards to me fishing the Bassmaster Open Tour for 2020, I think that where I'm at now, my decision last year was perfect, and my timing was perfect because I wouldn't be fishing the Bass Opens or trying to get into the Bass Elite if I would have committed.
Wow. That makes a lot of sense.
Well, you know, it's interesting because Scott, I just kind of want to state the obvious. You're sending a message here by going to Bass. You're going to the AAA league as opposed to probably being able to get into the primary side on the MLF tour. You're saying out loud that, you know, hey, I think this is the direction of the future. I think that's what I'm looking and I'm seeing. I think a lot of other people are seeing that from you.
Well, yeah, you know, look, I'm not going to say anything bad about Major League Fishing. I don't think there's anything bad to even say. For me, it's what I've grown up around. It's the way that I like to fish. It's the format that I'm comfortable with.
Yeah.
It checks all my boxes, right? And it allows me again to effectively balance all the other things that I've got going on. I mean, an example of that is, when you fish on the major league, you fish a couple events and then you qualify for one of the major league fishing events, right? And so those kind of pop up on you. You can't necessarily plan that. You can have it in your calendar, but you may qualify or may not.
Yeah.
And so that being said, I like the consistency of knowing my schedule. I like the consistency of fishing the way that I've fished for 20 years. I'm not opposed to change, and I'm not against what Major League Fishing's doing in any way at all. I think this whole competition is going to be healthy for the sport overall.
Yeah.
For me, that's where I'm at. For me, I said it earlier. I don't want 10 or 15 years to go by and me say, man, I really wish. That's the one regret I had.
Right.
Is I never did give myself a chance to win a blue trophy. I never did give myself a chance to win a Bassmasters Classic.
Yeah. Yeah, and they're big titles in the sport that you want. Yeah, Riz, what do you got else coming through?
Scott, the Wawa Hoagie lady would like to know if at any point during this transition of your career, did you ever think about doing something else as a career?
Wow.
Wawa Hoagie lady.
Man, Wawa Hoagie lady with a deep question.
Bringing the heat.
Yeah, that's. I love Wawa, by the way. I heard it's more in Florida, so Wawa's with the deal. I wonder what Wawa she's at. Hopefully we have a tournament there. I can go in and get a special sub.
Yeah, if it's from Wawa Hoagie Lady, it'll be a real special sub. We're not even sure if it's a lady. So.
For me, it's all about fishing. If I retired from bass fishing, for some reason I had to retire. If somebody said tomorrow tournament fishing's over for whatever reason, I would just become like a charter boat captain in the Keys. I would grow a beard out, and I'd get up in the tower of the big sport fish boat and yell at everybody like right rigger, left rigger, reel. I just want to be a charter boat captain. So if I quit, if I stop tournament fishing, I'm going to be guiding.
Yeah, awesome. I remember talking to you, Scott, a few years back, and you were a co-angler with the FLW for a while.
Oh yeah,
and I remember. Like you weren't sure. At least that. Of course, this was a long time ago, and I don't remember very much anymore. But you were talking about like, man, I'm not sure. I wasn't sure that I was ready to get into the boater side of things.
Right.
And
yeah,
that was a huge step for you.
It was. It kind of happened a little by happenstance. I mean, obviously, growing up, I knew that I wanted to tournament fish. And I knew that I wanted to take that be my main career at some point. But I was trying to prepare myself a little bit by getting some marketing background, kind of just get out in the real world a little bit. I was working at the marina. I was a fishing guide. I wasn't in a hurry like the kids are today. Again, this was 20 years ago, so things were different back then. But I wanted to take it a little slow. Like back then, there wasn't 21-year-old kids fishing any big major tour back then. I mean, back then you were 30 years old before you started fishing the tours. But I wanted to take it a little slow, and I started fishing the FLW as a co-angler at Okeechobee, the very first tournament of the year. We hosted it, and they let me in the tournament. They gave me a spot in the tournament, and I ended up fishing it, and then did really well, came in second, and then finished out the year. I said, well, let me just try to finish out the year on this thing, see how it goes. And I won Angler of the Year. And then they were like, oh, my gosh, you won Angler of the Year. And I kind of saw some opportunities with maybe trying to get some sponsors and a few little things. And I thought, let me just see what happens. Let me try the FLW Tour for a year. And, we start off at Okeechobee, and let's just see what happens. And start off at Okeechobee, did pretty well, go to my second tournament, and then all of a sudden I win it and become the youngest angler to ever win an FLW tournament. So the ball kind of got moving at that point, and that's started with FLW at that point and haven't looked back.
Man, and I want to ask this because I don't even know if you can answer this question because it fascinates me. Winning fascinates me. And your dad obviously has it, right? He has 19, I think, bass wins. I think he's even won on the FLW side. I can't remember. But you've won 8 major FLW tournaments. What is the secret?
It's genetic.
What is the secret to winning? Did Dad help you or teach you something, or is it something? Have you figured out what the secret is to winning these big tournaments?
You know what it is? I don't know if I can effectively tell you the right answer or whatever, but for me, here's what it is. And I think Mike will agree with this. I think if you had Thrift sitting there, he would agree with this. I think guys that have won over and over and over again, there's a certain amount of confidence and fear, right? Fear, for me, is just as important as the confidence, because fear is what makes me get out of bed. Fear is what gets me out of bed and makes me say, I've got to make something special happen. And I try to visualize my game plan. I try to visualize all the different scenarios. I'm never satisfied with what I've found in practice. You know, you've been to all these tournaments, and how many times you've seen guys come in early and they skip a half a day of practice because they're like, man, I already know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I've got it figured out. I've been catching them since I got here. And those guys never win, right? They never win. They never do any good. They never win. And any tournament that I've ever won, any tournament that you guys have ever won, you've never had enough fish for a day 5. It's always been like you've had to make adjustments and do plan B or C or D, come into those last couple days and make adjustments to win. And so it's that hunger, it's that fear that gets you out of bed in the morning. It's that passion and that confidence that allows you to fish with a little pep in your step.
Yeah.
You know, you can't fish leaning on your seat. The guys that lean back on their seat and just kind of just go around doing their thing, they're missing that little bit of pep. They're missing that little bit of fear that makes them go, I'm not driving. Florida, look, it takes me 6 hours to get out of the state of Florida. So everywhere I drive in these tournaments are like 15 to 20-hour car rides.
Yeah.
That is the most miserable 20 hours of my life when I get back from a tournament without a check in my pocket.
Yeah.
And it's happened a bunch. It's happened to all of us.
Yeah.
And there's a certain degree. I support myself completely from bass fishing. I don't have a trust fund set up. I don't have another nobody's giving me money. It's everything that I've built. And so I have to protect that. And that fear and that hunger and that passion is what makes you get out of bed. But not being satisfied with what you get. I think that's the biggest thing, is not being satisfied with what you found. You got to find more.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I'd agree with that 100%, Pete. And I hear that a lot from top competitors, guys that are always winning. I hear echoed the same thoughts of what Scott just said.
I love that concept. It's like confidence and fear.
Confidence and fear. It's the right combination.
I've never heard it said that way, Scott. That's pretty awesome.
I think it's awesome. Now, Scott, I'm also, besides Riz looking at the IM, I'm monitoring some of the social comments coming through. And I've seen this one come through from a couple people, including Steve Pellegrino. I don't know where he's chiming in from, but he basically wants to know. The question is, have your sponsors dictated this decision at all? And if so, are your sponsors for the most part pro Bass or pro MLF?
Interesting.
And I know you have a relationship with Bass Pro and Cabela's, which seems like a better tie to Major League Fishing.
It does. You know, so to answer that question, 100% of my sponsors have been supportive of it, of the switch. Not a single one has even had a little tone in their voice of uncertainty. So 100% fully supportive of the whole thing. The second thing is, not any of them gave me any advice or told me to go in any direction. They all knew that I was going to make the best decision that was going to be for me and my family. And in turn, if I make a good decision for myself and my family and for what I can do, then they're along for the ride, right? It's going to be beneficial to them. And so 100% across the board, everybody was fully supportive of the switch.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. And that's the way it should be. And I've got to ask you this, and I'm not asking you because, listen, I fish MLF and, you know, and so I'm there. I'm there fishing it. I'm supporting MLF, but I got to ask you this question, and it's come up. You know, and I'm not asking you to pick sides. I'm not asking you anything. I just want to know your opinion. Do you feel like MLF is dismantling FLW? And there's just too many people, you know, saying that, and there's too many people saying, you know, it's not right what Major League Fishing's doing to FLW. Do you feel like they're dismantling What's
No, I really don't. I don't feel like they're dismantling it. I think what they're doing, creating that being the stepping stone to the BBT is the right move. I think that's something that they had to do. I think that's fine. I mean, they bought them fair and square, and I think they're being as fair as they could. I think if they were cutting the field to 30 this year and told 120 people to go, good luck, and hopefully you'll make it someday and fishing somewhere.
Yeah.
That would have been bad, but they didn't do that.
Right.
So it's change. I think the way tournament fishing has evolved, it's changing. It's just constantly changing. Bass obviously is sticking true to the way it's always been with the 5-fish format, and Major League switching it up a little bit, and they're going to make adjustments and tweak things to make it work. They got a lot of smart people over there. They got a lot of smart people at Bass. So I think having 2 tours in the world of bass fishing is a great number. I don't think 3 was a good number. I think consolidating it's going to be good for the sport.
I'd agree with that. I think eventually it needs to be 1. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it would be. I think it'd be great. Yeah.
Now, with all the, we've had some big announcements, Pete, in the last couple of days. We've had guys clearly drawing a line in the sand a little bit. Andrew Upshaw making a big announcement. He's leaving FLW. I think that happened today. Some things that have happened with some other guys, and then a couple big announcements coming tomorrow, or if not tomorrow, Wednesday, of guys leaving MLF to go somewhere else. How's all this shakeup? How are the big names leaving MLF, big names dropping out of FLW? How's that going to affect the climate of these 2 tournament organizations?
Only time's going to tell. I mean, that's. I've got so many other things going on in my world. I haven't really thought about who's going to leave and who's going to go where and what that's going to do to the sport. To be honest with you, so I just had to take all that. I'm not going down that road trying to figure everybody out. But I'm excited about Andrew Upshaw changing over to the Bassmaster Tour. I think it's going to be awesome. Him and I roomed together this last year, had a great time, and I look forward to hanging out with Andrew. He's a great friend of mine, and he's a tremendous angler. He's got a big opportunity in front of him as well.
Yeah, that's awesome. He's talk about young anglers, really up and coming guys dominating. Dude, he seems like he's winning everything. All right, Riz, I know you got something else. What do you got for us coming up here?
We have a trivia question, and this trivia question, the winner will get a subscription to MTB for 3 months.
Wow.
And the trivia question is 2 of the Ike Live crew members were on the Scott Martin Challenge.
Oh.
The crew members were Pete the Dean Gluzek and Brian T. Carpenter. What lakes were these Scott Martin Challenges held on?
Wow. Good question. Who came up with that one? Good question.
That would be the Dean.
Wow. Well, here's
BTC.
This in the midst of this trivia question. This is a great opportunity to corner your ass, Scott.
Get ready.
How the hell have 2 of the other guys on Ike Live? The damn show's named after me, and I haven't been on Scott Martin Challenge.
Hey,
can I please come on the show?
After 20 years and you finally invited me to Ike Live, you were on the SEC.
Yeah! There you have it. That's a bigger announcement than what's coming tomorrow right there, folks.
That's right. Here, let me get my hat on backwards because it's me and you, man.
Woo! Woo! I love it. I'd love to be on there. I know Pete's talked about it and Brian's talked about it. They both had an amazing time. So
That's right.
I would love to do it. I cannot wait. I'd love to be a part of it.
The message board says that they would like to see that challenge happen on the Upper Chesapeake Bay.
On the Upper Chesapeake Bay. Okay. All right.
We can do Chickahominy. I like the Chickahominy. We can go fish on there.
Oh, Chickahominy. Yeah. I'm in for that. I'm definitely in for that. You have any more IMs coming through too, Riz? Yeah, Brian, you got some. Go ahead.
I do, but give me a minute. We have a special call that wants to come in. So Scott, give me a second. I'm going to add a Skype caller to this conversation.
Okay.
And Scott, I'm going to call you to the carpet too. You are the most requested speaker for Bass University that we have not had on in the last few years.
Wow.
I know. I owe you a phone call back, so we'll talk and figure this out. We had so much going on, obviously, that everything's been kind of just all over the place. So we'll get that figured out. I want to do it.
All right, now
be good.
Guys want to see you. Come on back with us.
Now, to change topics real quick? What's biting in Key West right now? What's hot? What are you guys fishing for down there?
So tomorrow, what we're going to do is I've got the little flats boat. I brought it down, and we're going to go shark fishing tomorrow on the flats. Hillary's 14, and she loves catching sharks. And we get up there and we sight fish them, and they're small sharks, but they're little bonnet heads and little black tips, and it's just a lot of fun. We just take spinning rods, light tackle, and we sight fish for sharks on the flats. So that's what we're going to do tomorrow, and mess around a little bit, and then head on home Wednesday.
Wow, that sounds fun.
Yeah. I'm surprised you're not staying down for the holiday. Like have
We'll
turkey down there.
Yeah, we'll go back. We'll go back and probably go on the lake a little bit, ride the airboat around, go shoot some ducks. Duck season just opened up, so we'll be having some fun around Clewiston.
That's awesome. Yeah, and I did want to throw one more thing at you real quick while we're waiting for this call to come through. My son's 8. My son Vegas is 8, and he's ate up with it right now. And you know, there's a little similar dynamic going on, you know, with him. You know, even at 8, I can tell he's aspiring. You know, he's bit by the bug. He's aspiring to do it. Do you have any tips for Vegas? You know, Scott, take yourself back to when you were 8, 9, 10 years old. You have any tips for him navigating this world as you know, a young guy coming up in you know, in sort of my shadow, you know? I mean, that's what it is. You know, it's tough.
Oh yeah. You know, for me, the best advice I can give any young angler is try different lures, right? And understand what those lures mean, and like when you make decisions, like let him run the trolling motor. Let Vegas run the trolling motor.
Yeah.
Let Vegas make a decision on where he wants the boat to go. Because when he drives the boat, it's just that you understand this 100%. When he drives the boat and he stops and he trolling motor to this dock and he skips a worm under a dock and catches a fish, that bite is more important than when he was in the back of the boat just randomly casting, right? So that's the biggest thing is you know, I don't think Vegas needs to drive your boat, but you drive the boat, let him run the trolling motor, and make decisions on where to cast. And when he catches fish, that is super special.
Man, that's a great tip.
Yeah, I got a tip that's a little bit more general, or questions more general than that. Is what, like, are you worried about like turning your kids off from fishing? Like, what did you do to get your kids inspired to fish?
Yeah, that's a good question.
You know, for me, it was I never did push the boys, and you know, they love fishing, but they're not in the tournament stuff at all, and they're not really wanting to kind of take it to the next level. And I don't feel like I pushed it on them at all, so I don't know if I should have maybe done a few more things with them, fished a few more tournaments, you know, and done some of that. But I don't ever, and my mom and dad didn't do this with me either. They didn't ever force anything on me, you know.
Yeah. My
My dad was gone so much that I kind of started my love for fishing because I just started fishing, and you know, we had a little boat there, and I remember going out on Okeechobee in a little flat bottom boat with a 9.9 on it and rigging it all out like it was my tournament bass fishing boat.
Yeah.
You know, just a John boat with not even a trolling motor on it. And that's really where the love of fishing came in. So, you know, I've never really pushed my kids, you know, towards it real hard, but I think it's just a great sport. I think they see now more than ever the benefit of fishing, you know, family time. You know, you can obviously make a good living, you know, doing this as a business. So, you know, a lot of good opportunities right now.
Yeah, the environment you grew up in, I think, is super important. All right, Scott, we've kept you a long time. We've got one last thing for you. We've got a special Skype guest joining us right now. Our very own Dave Brodzik, a.k.a. Fathead, a.k.a. Wharf, a.k.a. Stormtrooper, joins us live. This is another first of Ike Live. Not only Scott for the first time, but a dual Skype. Wow. This is
second time.
This is the second time. Okay, I thought it was the first. Whatever. Dave, how you doing tonight?
Good. How well can you hear me?
I can hear you good. I see you all up in the UPS boob suit you got on right now.
Yeah, getting ready to head in, man. Don't know where I'm going yet, but I start at 10. So, thanks for squeezing me in. I was hoping to actually be in studio to talk to Scott, my favorite professional angler, Mike.
Yeah, it's okay. I like it.
Love it.
Scott, they've been scheduling the shows on nights that they absolutely know that I work. So I think I'm getting the hint.
Dave, the next show's on a Sunday, Dave. I promise you.
What a Friday night. Yeah. So, Scott, I don't want you to get too creeped out, but so I'll be 48 in a couple hours, right? Oh shit. And then, what would you say if I were to tell you that I know I'm not the only one? That there's some 48-year-olds out there lurking that were like thinking about knocking you off the boat when you were a kid fishing with your dad, so they might have had a chance to get on there.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny.
Like I'd be watching the show, and you're younger than me, but yeah, you'd be out there with your golden hair, looking like you just fell off like a 1940s German Wheaties box, you know?
Oh gosh.
Big hair, yeah. Oh, man, yeah. Your dad is, and then still is, my favorite guy to watch. By the way, So. Yeah.
I appreciate that, man.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I'm not the only guy. I mean, that's universal.
You're the only guy to admit to it. You're not the only guy.
I'm not going to admit anything. You know that.
My dad's the only guy that would ever literally comb his hair before he'd go on stage with the black comb. He'd comb it over, get it all perfect, and then go up on stage and pull the bass out.
That's awesome.
Wow.
God, you mentioned black. Is there something wrong with the black comb? Because that's actually what I use for my hair. I still got the Ace black comb. Is there anything wrong?
Yeah.
What do you use on your golden locks, man? Pert? Do you use Pert?
Yeah, Pert. Yeah, Pert.
So listen, no, I don't want to waste your time. But here, you and I have a mutual. I wouldn't say we have a mutual acquaintance. He's your friend, but I'm going to take you back to 2004, Lake Champlain, the time you won up there.
Yeah.
Now you used to travel with an ogre of a man, right? Big guy. Was his name Jesse?
Randy.
Now you still friends with him?
Yes.
All right. So do you remember in that tournament that we would have they were giving us 10 hours a day to fish? Remember how long those days were?
Oh yeah.
Well, I drew him on day 2, and he was absolutely terrified because I was actually fishing the stuff you were, but and he was like, my God, he's going to think that I'm bringing him here because that's back when you were allowed to practice with your co-angler.
Yeah. Right.
Terrified that you were going to see him with me, and he's like, if he asks you, you got to tell him the truth. We ended up on the Inland Sea. We're a little bit more north of where you ended up, where you killed him at. But spent 10 hours recruiting my soul, man. Is he still a super faithful dude?
Absolutely. He's a great guy, and he's a big part of my success over the years, to be honest with you. He's such a motivational guy. He's such a positive guy. He's been a big inspiration in my life for all those years. And so he taught me how to think right. He taught me how to win, to be honest with you. He is a super dude. Randy Clark, awesome guy.
I had a good time fishing with him. Like I said, it was I was getting a history lesson and religion and stuff like that. But he put me out there. He violated some guy code. And I don't know if that's a Southern thing or not, but I'm going to tell you what he did. All the guys that are in studio, all my friends, they were all first to fall off and go get married, right? Everyone went and got married, kids, and I was the last holdout. I was that last Japanese guy up on the mountain that no one told the war was over, and they found him 6 years later. You know what I mean? Holding down the bunker. Well, anyway, I had my now wife up there with me fishing, and he knew my story. We had told our life story to each other. Like I said, I really did. I wish I got to talk to him again. I had a good time with him, but. So it's maybe day 3. It was cut day, and I was coming by. Remember they had us launching out of that sailboat place. It was very tight.
That's right. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. He was with you, but he branched over, and my wife was just getting on me about not having proposed to her yet. We're not. And now we're going to weddings. Her people in her family younger than her are getting married, so I'm getting the screws put to me constantly. He sticks, and I just got my brow beaten, maybe a half hour before we go into the yard. This guy's giant, Brian and Mike and Pete. This guy's 6'6", would you say? Maybe about 20?
Yeah.
Big man. Well, he sticks his giant.
Like a linebacker.
Yeah, exactly. He was a lineman in college. Yeah, he sticks his gigantic face right in the passenger side, right where my wife is, and with his calm, like Southern gentleman voice is like, are you going to make her an honest woman or what?
Wow. Call to the plate.
I've only ever seen like something like that said on like Dallas. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. We don't see it up here, but you know, like you're going to make her an honest woman. Yeah, that went over really well, man.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was the tipping point, wasn't it?
Car ride home. That was a tough ride back.
Yeah, I mean, I think the car ride home was more. You spent like $8,000, you idiot, and you didn't even do anything up there. Yeah, I think it was more of that than out there, dude. But yeah, he did have me buy a book. I tried to find some Jesus because of him, dude. Didn't work out, but I bought the book, A Case for Christ. He told me to buy.
Oh, that's a great book. Yeah, I read that book. Yeah. That's a great book.
Yeah, he was like some atheist New York Times reporter that started out trying to prove that Jesus didn't exist and wound up becoming a believer. You know,
he did. It's a great book. Yeah, The Case for Christ. It's a great book. I read it, and I gave my life to the Lord back in 2000. So it's been a great journey. He was a big part of that as well.
Never give up, Dave.
Yeah, I tried to do that, but I was thinking you put 5 in the live well the next day, and it didn't quite turn out that way.
You still got time.
Never
give
up,
my friend. Don't worry.
Yeah,
you still got time.
No,
he still loves you.
It's interesting how many cool people you meet, isn't it? Your partners that you draw, your marshals, your co-anglers, your other pro. Dude, I've met amazing group of people over the years. Dave, and your memory, dude, what the hell? That's good. You remembered everything, dude. Like it was yesterday.
So he put an impression on me. This is an inspirational guy.
Yeah,
you heard
he is magical.
Say that guy's his his foundation. I'm not just have the best saying it, and then you have someone that no one knows of saying it. So that means something.
Yeah. Now this guy, I'm telling you, Randy Clark is an amazing guy. I actually, and I haven't called him yet, but I thought about bringing him out of retirement and having him travel with me on the Opens this next year, dude. Just because he's that powerful, bro. Yeah. I'm telling you,
dude.
It would be, yeah.
Wow. Yeah. That's awesome.
He made Dave get
married.
He did. He made Dave get married.
yeah, I know, dude.
Well,
but
we know this sport is all between the ears. It's all mental, and
a lot of
I met Randy before, and he is a powerful force, and it's no wonder that he's had a big influence on you, Scott. It's very difficult to get in the winner's circle, so kudos to Randy.
Yeah, shout out to
absolutely.
Randy. Shout out to Randy.
All right, well, I'm going to get going, guys. I got to go
Dave.
to work. And thanks for coming on. Come on again, Scott, when I'm actually in studio. We have some fun games.
Absolutely. We'll do it. Right. We'll make it hopefully we'll make it a lot more often.
Yeah, for sure, man. See you guys.
We'll see you, Dave.
See you, Dave.
There you have it. All right, now let's see. Do we have a winner, Riz? Do we have a winner that came through? I'd like to announce this winner before Scott gets off the call here in a second.
We do not have a winner.
Okay.
However, one of the 2 lakes has been coming in constantly.
Okay.
For the last 20 minutes.
All right.
And the correct lake recently came in, but we need them together.
Need them
hurry
together.
Up, type. Boom, 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 boom.
All right. There you have it. We need them together. Scott, we're going to let you go here in a second. I know you've got a lot of fishing to do. You're on vacation. We appreciate coming on the show. And I want to end this with the schedule. You're fishing the Opens, and the first one is literally on Kissimmee. That's gotta be exciting. Just give me your take on that, because literally right off the giddy, you could accomplish a lot of what we talked about tonight.
You can get to the classic.
You can literally get to the classic right up, get it over with.
We got it.
Get it right off the giddy. Oh wait, we have a winner.
We have a winner.
Oh my, wait a minute. What do we got?
And the winner is the missing kicker with Lake Champlain and Lake Ida. Ding, 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 ding.
The missing kicker. You are the winner. Riz, you want to have them send their information through? And
yes, please. Missing kicker. Send in your info. I won't share it over to the public side. That came in at 9:45 and 3 seconds.
3 seconds.
Good job, man. That's good. That's good. Lake Ida was a tough one. I didn't figure anybody would come up with that one, but we did a YouTube video, so I guess they watched it.
There you have it. All right, now Scott, getting back to this, you've got a great opportunity here right off the giddy to just do a lot of what we talked about. How excited are you about that first event on the Kissimmee chain?
Super. I've got butterflies. I mean, literally got butterflies. I've woke up with having dreams. it's going to be great, man. It's going to be great. It's Florida. I feel super, super comfortable. I don't fish Kissimmee a lot, but I fished it enough that I just have a lot of confidence there, and just going to have to go in there and get it started. But I'm excited. We're starting off the year. I think that's been part of my success too, fishing FLW for all those years, is we started off in Florida. We started off most of the time at Lake Okeechobee, and I always started off the year with a little confidence. It was kind of like the huddle up of the year, starting off there on your home lake. And so starting off in Florida is always a good thing.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, Scott, I can't tell you how happy we are to have you on the show. Thank you so much for coming on. Definitely would love to have you on again as the season progresses. Will you come back on to keep us abreast of what's happening with everything?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
That's
for
awesome.
Sure.
Well, we're happy for you. We wish you the best success in bass. We want to see you dominate over there, kick ass, and keep doing what you're doing on the content side too. You're getting a lot of people involved in the sport, and we appreciate that. That's awesome.
Oh, thank you. You're doing awesome as well, Mike and Pete. You guys are doing with the Bass University stuff is always awesome. You guys are really moving the needle in so many different ways as well with your foundation. So keep doing everything you're doing, and man, hopefully we'll hook up again soon.
You got it. Scott Martin, everybody.
All right.
Scott. Wow. Man, what an awesome interview. That is so awesome. We dished a lot of good questions to him, and I like it. I feel good about the delivery of questions, and dude, he was honest. He was honest about a lot of stuff. It was great. It's great to hear it.
It's so hard. I mean, my gosh, with everything that's going on in the industry,
it's tough.
Having to make that choice. Wow.
Great. Yeah.
It's a rough deal.
It's great to finally get him on, man.
Yeah. And it's got to be so, I loved hearing that he's got butterflies. So
it's awesome.
Enthused about
a guy that's done everything, right?
He's calmed down. He's like, I made my decision. And now you're focused. You're excited about the new year. That's pretty awesome to hear.
Nappy down south said that Scott's phone is already ringing from Uncle Boyd.
Could be. Hey, the reality of it is some phone calls could be made in the next couple of days. We don't know. Very refreshing to hear from Scott. Great interview. I hope everybody enjoyed that. We're going.
By the way, Scott was on Luke Duncan's podcast over the weekend as well.
Wow.
So
okay.
I know Luke threw some stuff at him. And I'm going to listen to that tomorrow. So.
Cool. That's awesome.
Low Budget Live.
Low Budget
TH
Live.
Marine.
Another great show. Low Budget Live with Luke Duncan.
Yes.
We're nearing the end of the show. I want to thank you for watching. Before we go, don't you detune yet, Pete, because this is one of the most exciting parts of the show. Brian the Carpenter and Riz is Dean Glusick is the Mystery Tackle Box MTB unboxing. Pete, as you know, Ike Live is one of the only shows that does this live every show. And we've got a brand new box here. Look at that seal. Look at that shiny ass seal.
Can't wait to
Unbroken
see what's
seal
inside.
right there.
What is inside?
I don't know. And you know I like to use the pen, and I like to listen to the noise. You ready? Here it comes. Listen to this noise. Ready? Wait, you hear it? Hold on. You hear that? It almost sounds like a snap when you break that seal. And we're going to do an unboxing here. I'm going to pick a lure. I'm going to pass it over to the Dean. And then Pete's going to go ahead and pass it back to the other guys. Then we're going to take a look at what's going on here.
I got a Fu Manchu.
Oh, Pete's eating some meat sticks as well as we're opening it. Now, this is what I love. And before I pick my bait, I want to tell you that Mystery Tackle Box does a great job of mixing the lures. So as I'm looking through here, I see hard baits. I see soft baits. I see terminal tackle. And that's really cool too, right? So you're not getting all one category of lure. But Pete, I'm going to pass to you and Brian the Carpenter.
Mike.
I got something here that is very, very interesting. And I want to tell you once again the beauty, the freaking beauty of Mystery Tackle Box.
Oh, it's shaky head.
Is
perfect for Brian.
It puts things in your hands that you would not normally buy, okay? And what I've got here is I've got some shaky heads. I see, speaking of FLW, I see David Dudley on the pack here.
Oh.
And these are...
Is he wearing underwear?
He's wearing underwear in this one.
Okay.
These ones are shaky heads, a stand-up shaky head jig by a company called Perfection Lures, and it's called the Shore Hookup. And the interesting thing, Brian the Carpenter, give me a close-up real quick of that again. The interesting thing about these shaky heads is they have a wire on the bottom of the head that helps the jig head stand up on the bottom.
Extra standing.
Extra standing. Very cool.
Perfection lures?
Yeah, perfection lures. Very creative. Look at that.
Very creative.
Very interesting. Okay. Pete, what do you got?
Yeah, that's it. And I want to get a shout out to Harmony Tackle, which is often shown up in our in Mystery Tackle Box. And they are Captain O-Ring. He's a customer with Bass University.
Cool.
A subscriber.
Shout out to Captain O-Ring.
As well as on-water training customer. So shout out to Harmony Tackle.
Right.
But I picked this one out because I've just been crankbait fishing, but mainly the innovative packaging caught my eye in the way they wrap this baby up. But this is a bubonic square bill.
A bubonic square bill.
Bubonic square bill.
Look at that. Brian Carpenter, get it close. I like this a lot.
Lean that into Mike's.
Here, I'll get this for you.
Ooh,
There you
that's
go.
a really cool.
Wow.
One. It's from Catchco. It's
Great color.
It's a crawl. It's a
Red crawl, yeah.
Square bill pattern. By the way, they're biting that kind of thing down at Lake Jordan right now.
Wow. Wow. Here's a tip for all you Jordan fishermen right now.
Go bubonic.
I love it. I love that, man.
Very
It's gonna
cool.
Jump off the shelf, and it's good.
Neat
perfect
looking
crankbait.
plug. Neat looking plug. Brian Carpenter and Riz, I know you're tearing through the box back there. What do you've got coming out of the MTB that interests you?
Brian stole the one I wanted.
Brian! Uh-oh, what's he
little
got?
rage action, little rage crawls.
Yeah.
Can't go wrong with it.
Can't go wrong.
Classic bait. You know it works.
Gotta have a lot of them.
You know it works.
That's right.
Jig trailer, Texas rig, whatever you want to do with that thing.
Whatever you want to do.
I like it. Riz, what do you got?
I have two. I don't want to go with the exact same as Brian, but I have a live target crankbait here. It's a Tennessee crawl pattern, but it's interesting because it's got a lot of white in it, but it still has the traditional crawl lines and a little bit of chartreuse on the bottom too to catch the eye. And then the other one that I grabbed was a Big Bite Baits swimming crawl.
Ooh.
And I have used Big Bite Baits before, and I like them because they hold up. You can catch multiple fish on them
Swimming crawl?
before they tear up.
Wow.
Yeah. And Brian has a
Check that
great
out.
bait for a shaky head. His
That's
favorite
right.
bait.
Looks like a little Jeff Crete worm, but
Yeah.
it's by Catchco.
While we're on this, we also had a
We'll shake
Facebook
the
like and share winner.
Oh,
from tonight's.
let's
from
talk
tonight's
about that.
show.
Yeah.
Yeah, and our Facebook like and share winner was Hank Snow. So Hank Snow, thank you for watching. In addition to everybody else who hung out with us all night, we had a lot of guys here: Stephen Walden, Fat Grant, Greg Hall, Jerry from New Hampshire, Stephen. That's our guy from Bass University.
Wow, Bill.
And we had awesome numbers on all three platforms tonight: Facebook, YouTube, and the website. We appreciate your support, guys.
Yeah.
And, thanks for being with us.
Awesome.
Yeah, thank you guys for watching tonight. I hope you enjoyed the show. Pete, we had a good one. Of course, we had Jody Queen on, professional kayak angler. We've had Scott Martin, threw all the tough questions at him. He came through great, answered a lot of stuff for us, and opened a MTB box. And if you like what you saw in the mystery tackle box, let me let you know there's a Black Friday promotion going on right now. Use the promo code Ike Live to save 20% off your box. Also, if you go to the website, IkeLive.com, you're going to see promo codes for all of our great sponsors. Liquid Mayhem, Flambeau, MTB Real Snot, Dr. Squatch, Primal Urge, Tackle Warehouse, TH Marine. Discount codes for all our sponsors. Go ahead and use those codes. You're going to get a discount, better price than any other angler can get out there. Brian, good show. What do you think? I liked it.
Very good show, yeah. And don't forget to tackle. Do you say Tackle Warehouse?
Tackle Warehouse, yes,
Black
sir.
Friday? Yeah, and I think our boys Real Snot might even have one. But yes, awesome show, dude. It's great to get Scott on, and again, I love being well rounded. I love getting the kayak guys on, talking about the Slay Nation guys and what they're doing. Again, I think sometimes we get a little bit caught up in just tournament bass fishing, so it's nice to expand.
Nice to look
beyond
outside that box.
Heck yeah, man.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. Want to thank everybody for tuning in. Listen to me. If you like what you see, if you like what you hear, a lot of ways to get it. Go look at some of our old shows. We're on show 101?
I believe.
101 right now. So we got a lot of shows for you if you want to catch up. Of course, go to IkeLive.com. Head over to iTunes, Stitcher. If you're at iTunes, please give us a positive review. It really helps. Riz, what do you got, too? You got something coming through?
You already hit it. Leave us a review on iTunes podcast after you subscribe. We really appreciate it.
Yep. Well, want to thank everybody. Pete, you got anything to say before we go?
Thanks everybody. Thanks everybody for watching. Get some wiggle words.
Get some wiggle words. Thanks everybody for tuning in tonight. Hope you have a great night. Look forward to the next show coming up in December. We're gonna have a couple weeks. We're gonna have a Tiny Boat show, Tiny Boat Nation show, and also there's gonna be some shit going down between now and the next show, and we'll have some of those.
About Fat Cat's announcement?
Maybe Fat Cat's announcement. We got a lot of announcements coming up.
Where he's fishing?
Yeah, we're gonna ask where Fat Cat's fishing. Hope everybody had a great night. Good night. We'll see you at the next one. Bye from Mike Live.
Good night, everybody.
Good night. Was that Ed? Was that Ed? No, let me see. Why can't I see Ed? I want to see Ed. Oh, yeah.
I can't hear you. Huh? No.
Shopping for
What's this? What do you guys want for the reindeer?
50 on that one.
50?
Yeah.
I can make it for nothing. I just came from a place that has way better trees. That's where I'm going. Bye-bye.